Hello all and welcome. I'm your not so humble Game Master TG, and this is Dice of Ages presenting CrestVahllen, the Argent Flame. Episode 81, Rest and Revelations. Without further ado, let's get into the recap of the previous episode. Cole, Ermgrim, and Argus stand in awe before the High Imlet, who, though hunched, towers over even the lithe Northman. A discourse of philosophical debate follows, as the two Auburn minds spar. Faith and fact contend for priority, leading to questions concerning the origins of the Keeper's power. The Bard chronicles the rare duologue, his warnings muffled by the air of prominence. Transforming Ermgrim's plasma blade into an impossibly hotter white, unharmed by the molten rock, the androgynous humanoid queries the dedication to having eyes be opened and renouncing their ties. Argus claims he is not yet ready to become the chaos of energy, but learns he is but a piece of an existence yet reborn. A whole yet to be purified, tainted by its desire to survive and to thrive. Staring into the river of magma, Argus extends a hand for but a moment before recoiling, then turning on his heels and marching back up the tunnels. After perusing the jobs board and pondering his puppet, the pensive dwarf focuses his energy on meditative forging and blacksmithing. Meanwhile, Zemdek concentrates his efforts on fashioning a brooch that would ward the mind as the day approaches its weary end. Welcome back to CrestVahllen. Hello and welcome back. Dice of Ages, CrestVahllen, Argent Flame. Hello. So, last we left off, we were doing a lot of downtime. We finished the scene with the Imlet, and Zemdak made a brain brooch. Everybody else was doing some other downtime stuff, and Argus was forging some items. Okay, and we are picking up on the 37th, morning of the 37th of High Lockham. Wonderful. So, no problems with the dreamscape tonight. Things have been pretty even keeled. Just a couple of the rumblings. There are a couple things that need doing. You guys like I said, we talked about doing some downtime stuff. So deciding what it is you guys want to do, because I know it's been a long time since you guys have ever had any downtime. It's always been rushing from one crisis to another. So does anybody have specific requests for what it is they want to do?
I need to refine stuff.
Okay.
Gem work to cut the diamonds and the stuff that we found in the worms.
Right. What was the rough value of the diamonds you were doing?
600. We bought 600 worth of uncut diamonds.
Right. Well, you
Or
bought
traded.
get traded to
Traded.
right from the faction. Sure.
And I could potentially make them more value by cutting them.
Correct.
We also have worm droppings that I need to turn into ingots and
Yeah.
Right.
cut
It
that
was
kind of stuff.
it needed to be melted into either coinage or ingots or something that workable, because it's very just raw.
Do you want me to work
Unmined
on
metal.
that? I can do that pretty quickly, relatively,
kind
for
of
that
like
bit.
ore.
I can't help you with the cutting of diamonds, but
I'm sure you have your own projects to work on.
I mean,
And I can. This is a good. Keep my abilities sharp. I don't want to get rusty at any of this.
That's fair. All right.
Um,
Well, I have Cliff Notes version if you need it for.
so I'm not trying to get this done today. I know you have stuff you need to do, but is there anything that you can think of to do with this new whip that I've gotten? Show and bring out the tentacle whip from the
Burn it.
I mean,
I don't know about you, but that's kind of creepy.
I'm the creepy one. We have a dude who just chops off hands and makes crystals out of them, and I'm the creepy one.
But I mean,
that could be useful at some point.
You're afraid of spiders.
Yeah, and I'm gonna use this thing from one of those big ass bugs to teach these guys a lesson.
But tentacles don't weird you out at all?
Have you seen his eyes?
This is a good point.
Oh, speaking of hands, look, I have an idea. I want to try it later. If you want to, I think you'll like it.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I think we should
Color
get some
me
gloves
intrigued.
to see if we can
What?
I think we should probably go get some gloves if we want to see if we can attach to the blue Terrazine ninja stars.
Yes. Probably be useful.
No, what have I given you?
Make sure they're made of non-organic material.
Chainmail gloves.
Okay.
So that
Talking the definition of organic, you're going to find a lot of stuff that's hard pressed to find stuff that's not made out of carbon.
Yeah.
But organic chemistry.
so now that it's been a day, my next Eldritch Blast no longer knocks someone prone. I had to write that down as a note, or is it? Does that still apply?
It's still, which whenever you use the spell next, is what he said.
I don't know. You
Oh, because
Same thing.
it's the next day
Right.
and you lost the thing? Yeah. Yeah.
So it is just 24 hour.
Yeah, it was just 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should have had you go down into the tunnels.
Knock a worm prone.
How much worth in sapphires would you say I used? 10,
How much did you have to begin with?
90?
On the brooch?
No, from the first worm ball that we harvested,
No,
I
for
had
the
90.
brooch.
For the brooches, but
Oh.
you've only used it for the brooch?
Yeah, just to fill in the
So
filigree.
90 gold of sapphires is not a lot. Of
No, it's not.
So I would say you probably use half of it on the brooch then.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to consolidate this because I've got notes all over the place of what my scrap metal is. We have... No, we traded in the coinage for actual money. So, 45 gold in sapphires, 60 gold in rubies. We've got lead and steel from the second worm ball that I need to melt down, and then we had 210 gold of assorted gemstones.
Yeah, it's just like everything from jets to garnets to... They're more, rather than some of the more pure gemstones, they're some of like the mixture
Lesser.
gemstones. Like not topaz and ruby and sapphire and emerald, more like garnet and iron, yeah, other types like that. Like peridot.
And we do have some just like worthless gem dust that we got out of there. It was like too small to be worth anything.
Right,
It was,
yeah.
It was the dust of gemstones.
Just pulverized, yeah. It's just, they're just so small that it's more like sand than anything.
Yes.
Yeah, so what is it that you wanted to refine
Cut the
some?
gems.
You wanted to cut the diamonds
There's
first?
600 in diamonds and the other 2.
Okay, so roll dexterity tinkering check for me.
Enhanceability.
in lessers.
Enhance ability.
Do that on myself, but
I'm sure you could have.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you did.
I was
Just
picking
start
up my
smacking.
dice.
Enhance ability. Enhance ability. Smack.
I could have guidance you when you enhanceability. I can't do them at the same time.
Dexterity is plus 7, 22.
22. From these 600 gold worth of rough cut diamonds, you're able to increase its value to 800 gold.
Write that down.
I got you.
You did get rid of quite a bit of the material, but
Can I?
you think the raw material that you cut out is impure.
Right.
So it's not really useful for any type of spell work or tinkering. What you did is that you made it look very, very nice, so that resale value, especially if you sold it to a jeweler, you'd probably be able to get 800 gold. Now, because gold is an actually value of it, the way it denotes and how we talk about, spell work and all that stuff, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So I would say that for this instance, yes, that would translate to have a larger, so for if you need to use it for revivify or greater restoration or whatever, that's fine. Yeah, the greater value does translate that way.
Okay.
I will say that it doesn't always. There are instances where something like that would not always translate.
It's amount of material, not
Yeah, it's just like a certain amount of gold thing. For gemstones, I think that would be pretty consistent for that being to translate. For other more like ore-like materials, for example, just raw gold and then cutting it up. I mean, like no. I mean, gold is established its value in weight more than it is what it actually looks like. Granted, but it still has to be removed of impurities for it to be that type of weight. So if you had like 1,000 pounds of gold ore, in a vein, which is kind of like what you have with whatever is going on in the blue wormhole, and then realize that you're able to only titrate out or melt out like 600 gold, pure gold weighable, that's more, it would probably go down in value than up in value. Gemstones are kind of the inverse of raw metals when it comes to that type of thing. But yeah, that makes sense? Does that not make sense to anybody? Okay, good.
Add all of the cuttings to the just sand. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm just gonna keep
I don't think it would really add as much value to it, but it would add weight to it.
Right, exactly. Just materials.
Yeah.
It's glitter. I can add it.
Yeah.
So we have $1,500
Yeah.
or 1,500
Pocket
gold
sand.
worth of dice.
Wasted
That's
on
good.
pocket sand.
I would love for you to waste it on pocket
Gem
sand.
pocket sand.
Gem pocket sand.
No, but it may not be worth anything inherently, but I'm sure mixing it into one of my inventions
I think so.
in the future.
Just because of the catalytic nature
Correct.
of gemstones,
Yes.
having it already something pulverized like that, which takes a great amount of effort to begin with. Yes, something to make that type of conductive gel that is used in super colliders or whatever. I don't really remember for like batteries or power sources for your steel defenders or something like that. That's the kind of thing that could be used in. If you like suspend it in some sort of gel with a bunch of dust in it, it's like actual pure water that isn't salt at all, and it doesn't actual pure H2O with no contaminants does not conduct electricity.
Yeah.
But once you add contaminants, then it becomes very conductive.
Metagaming, I think teleportation takes chalk that is mixed with gem dust.
Yeah, I would say yeah. If you wanted to make some chalk out of this dust, I would absolutely allow that to be. And then I wouldn't actually consider that necessarily mitigating because a lot of that information is included in the notes and the information that you got from the transportation glyphs.
We've seen permanent teleportation. We haven't seen
All
the
of
fly.
these, by the way, directions and instructions are ones that are permanent ones.
Okay.
They are all ones that have been created over a course of years and have been well established for who knows how long.
But do you think in the lecture that we had that the basics of you take chalk and you draw the circle?
Yes,
would
I
be
believe
covered?
absolutely.
Okay.
If at the very least, easy to infer that type of information.
Okay.
There are a couple things where, if you need to get there in emergency, obviously, you draw your circle or whatever. Especially with two of you individuals who are so well versed in the workings of Arcanum
And Mortanic's book.
and more. That's
Yeah.
what I'm
How to
saying.
teleport.
Like there's
How to
actually
teleport from
very
the
little you actually need to read between the lines in order to ascertain that information. Yeah, you understand. I would say you would be able to. I'll say this. The book itself, as an entity in its entirety, would serve as a scroll of teleportation.
You already told us that.
Yeah, the book itself, but you'd have to burn the book.
You told us
entire
each
book.
page.
Right.
destination
Each page, but it would only go to that server.
Exactly.
Correct. Yeah. So I would say because of that, yes, you could essentially use it as a scroll that you could make a copy of if you wanted to put it into your book for that spell. But you would need to have the ability to cast that spell. You need to have that
which
level.
I don't
which
yet.
you don't yet.
But I did have like a half understanding before anyway, so
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
it's weird.
Yeah, all the holes are filled in for you here. I mean,
Hey,
you're fine. You have the ability to do it. You just don't have the actual capability of doing it.
Hey, save that dust for later. It looks pretty useful. You know?
Yep.
I
I
bought
think
some
both
chalk.
of you kind of realize it at the same time, like, oh yeah, this absolutely we can use to. No problem, no roll required, easy.
I bought some chalk back in Karadim, so I can.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
You'll have to
Make your
pulverize it
special
back
stuff. That'd be
down,
awesome.
Exactly.
add water to it,
Mix it
pressure
together.
under it,
Yep.
and it'd be fine.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
easy enough to make something you could make within like half an hour at tops.
Make butter.
So then the other 210 of gems.
Yeah. Speaking of which, if you'd like to, you can. Does it give you a gold value as to the chalk you have to spend on stuff?
Let me check.
That's still, I think, actual teleport's like a 6th or 7th.
It's
Yeah, I know. So it doesn't
We're not
really.
there
I
yet.
think,
I was
but-
just,
I would say, but
I'm holding on to it so that we have it for the future.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
because I would give you this is that if you wanted to use all of the dust, you could, for the foreseeable future, make it so like for the rest of the
50,
campaign,
yeah.
not have to worry about chalk needed for teleportation. If that's what you want to do, and then just mark it off.
50 gold 5th level.
Which is consumed.
You just let me know if that's what you want to do. It's does it say gold
Yeah.
50 gold.
50 gold pieces, which is consumed.
of chalk?
Yeah.
Per
Infused with
cast.
Infused with
casting.
inks. But
Okay.
And-
Yeah, but that's
and
fine
gem
the way
dust.
we're doing
It
it.
says- it says
I would
gold.
say
I mean, I can just.
almost for the rest of the I would say you could probably get out 500 gold worth of chalk
Okay.
for transportation glyphs
So
out of this dust.
roughly 10x. worth
Yeah.
of-
Yeah, which is pretty. That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
And you could do that now, and it would take you very little time if you want to do that.
I'll do.
This isn't something you would be able to do like when you're traveling.
Right.
This is something you would need. You could possibly do it in your like pull-out forge, but
I'll do 5. I'll make 5 sticks of
okay.
chalk.
If you want to use half the dust, so I would say, I would consider, for all intents and purposes, just like how for spell work, I say you have this much gold worth of paper and ink. That's the gem dust is like the raw material to make the component for that.
Yeah.
So you keep it half in the raw material. So if you're using it to make chalk, it is 250 gold worth of gem dust.
Right.
Makes sense?
Yep.
If you're using it to do something else,
It's worthless.
well, I wouldn't say it's worthless. You just have to let me know what it is you want to do with it,
Right.
and then I'll decide what it is.
Monetarily,
But when you tell me
it's
what it is,
worthless.
how much is it do you have? You say, well, it would have been 250 gold for teleportation chalk. And so, but you are able to make then 250 gold worth of teleportation chalk as well. So do mark that down
Yep.
and make sure those are denoted so
Will
that
do.
we don't forget. Because that's definitely gonna be something that's gonna come down like 20 episodes from
It
now,
is.
and you're gonna say, "I'm gonna use that." I'm like,
A year from
what?
now.
Yep.
Okay.
If we're lucky, a year from now.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, there may be something I can do with that whip.
Think about it as we move around the table. What do you want?
It's fucking gross.
You know, it's a day to copy down some more spells into
Okay,
my
cool.
backup.
Better for them.
So I'll just do.
me not
I'm gonna make a tablet of fly, and then
Smells every time you use it.
I'll just do spell work. So for the next 10 hours, I'm out of commission. Okay.
Okay. You're working on PP, or are you done with PP?
I'm done with PP. I've been
just
done
doing
with it for a while.
Just the
yeah.
rest spell work that you don't need me for? You don't need any rolls for?
I don't need any.
Okay,
no.
cool. So you're doing that for
10
foresee-
hours.
10
Or
hours. Okay,
you
so that's your
putting
day.
anything- Can you put anything more in your book?
That's what she's doing.
I've got 2 scrolls. Well, I don't really have.
I
I
don't know, paper and ink.
I have some.
Trisheni is making like a backup book right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have knock for new things. I have knock. I have Midas's touch. And then the other 2 I can't really fully write down yet.
Why
So
do so
we
many
need
people
gold.
want to knock on doors?
We need lots of gold. Yeah.
Midas's touch, doesn't that turn things to gold?
I
That
my
then we can just, use fabricate and turn into a bunch of gold?
my understanding it's only when somebody like does a bitch slap to something else and not with like a
It's
weapon.
unarmed attacks.
So I mean,
Would have been great
so-
if you had a monk in your.
Which we did for a moment.
hot second. So I mean, I can do that, or I could just do one of these right now, and then we could go. do
Granted,
some-
just so
you
you're
could
aware,
still-
all classes are proficient in unarmed strikes.
Yeah.
They just you guys.
We suck at it.
It's just that as a default,
Yes.
if you're not if you don't have things like martial arts or something else, you do 1 damage
Yeah.
when you do unarmed strikes.
You know what? 1 damage plus turn something into gold is pretty damaging. I'm just gonna say that.
I would say
Hmm.
it's 1 damage plus your strength modifier, or like strength modifier. Well,
you sure
I'd
Dex?
be maybe willing to think about Dex
It
depending
is.
on
It
how
is strength
works,
modifier.
but I'm pretty sure it's strength modifier.
It is strength modifier. Which that's still 1 damage.
It's still something, yeah.
1 damage, 1 gold.
How does your spell work?
So, like, I didn't get the full gist of it when I was looking at the scroll before. I have to look at it a little bit further.
Technically, unarmed melee strikes are viable for smites. So they would, if you pumped smites into them, there would still be that extra amounts of damage. With your current class makeup, I think that's the only way you could like boost those numbers. But yeah, Eliezer just punches people and just like smite, and then like you're turning into gold now. Good work. But,
So,
For
like,
a dragon, he's got to build up his horde somehow.
yeah. Yeah.
it's true.
I was reading how like there's like canonical stuff about if a dragon has less than 10,000 gold in their horde, they no longer have a horde, and it's no longer their lair. They don't get lair actions anymore, and like they're not as powerful. And the bigger a horde is, the more powerful a dragon is, and the bigger they can grow. It's wild. And I was like, I never thought of it that way. And I'm just like, I'm not sure if I want to do it that way.
Their power is tied to their horde. That's
Yeah. It's cool.
There's a lot
but-
of mythos that are like
I know,
Yeah.
but there is also tons of other mythos that is not tied to that at all.
the reason we think of metal as precious, it has like inherent power to it. And the dragon sleeping on his horde
Right.
absorbs that power, and that's what makes dragons so.
We've now
They
switched
are
from
the embodiment
politics
of
to
greed and
philosophy.
avarice.
Correct.
Yeah. So,
But I wouldn't mind, taking a break. So, it's not so useful for us right now. I could work
Can
on
we
it.
turn random objects into gold?
Just smack a statue, like.
Right. And then sell it? Or then
I believe
fabricate
it says
into gold?
creature.
I don't know what it says because you never told me. I don't have it.
You haven't transcribed it yet. You haven't put it in your book yet?
No,
Well, you
this
won't
is-
know until you do.
So I don't know. I don't know if that would work.
Because this is a spell that was not, that isn't this was a spell made by another mage that is not that they made. There was a homebrew spell that
Right.
another mage made. Like,
Yeah.
that was somebody else's spell.
Yeah.
And so this isn't something that's just a little bit easier to read where, I mean, like basic Arcanum spells that we're like, oh yes, I'm familiar with that spell. Not necessarily familiar, but like there are other people that know the spell. The person who made this spell and you are probably the only two people that know about this spell.
Gotcha.
And so it's very about how we talked about how some wizards have their spell books very, very different. It is in an entirely different organizational language that is all Greek to you.
Yeah.
And so you'd actually have to take the time to really
I
get
mean,
into it.
this would take me literally all day to look at too, and I don't have enough. Based on even my basic understanding, I don't have enough gold worth of paper and ink to get it down yet. But I can still copy some other things down. In the
Can always
meantime.
ask Kyron for some.
Hey, yeah. I mean, yeah, I could. Do you want to go fight something? I'm kind of getting a little
I
twitchy.
would love to go fight something.
Okay, all right. I mean, I could do one spell into the backup, and then
We were discussing seeing if we could find, a place like the Pine of Blood again.
I was thinking like creature, or like we go
Creature works too.
or poop diving
Well,
again. You know,
no. If you guys were going to be busy, we needed something to do. I figured we could take him and try and make money off of him.
That means you have to be
He
betting
occasionally
against me.
wins.
And they don't have a little fucker who stabs you in the back this time, then maybe. But we'll see.
We'll figure it out, dog.
Trisheni, we
But we can make money.
bought you a spare spell book, and I made you a steel case for it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been carrying that around. Is that what you're adding?
Yeah.
Spares? Okay.
Yep,
cool.
exactly.
Just wanna-
I'm writing it down in there.
Make sure I've got that correct.
I'm almost making a full duplicate, guys. It's good.
You do you.
But
I'm just saying money.
Cole,
I agree. I want money, but I don't know how much money we'll get from each punch. Yeah.
Silvervein does approach you and say, "Oh, hey, so look, Kyron's looking to hire a new orator to try to, run some PR counter to all the bad press that has pretty much happened up to because Vogel did a lot of damage. So you're good with words, from what I hear. You want to
make some pocket change?
I mean, I can do some speech work for you if you
Yeah,
need me
cool.
to. I mean,
If you want to write a couple speeches, that'd be great. He's looking to, basically, the idea is, actually, why don't you come into my office? Basically, the idea is that we want to make sure that we're trying to make it clear that we're working well with the other clans, and that we're trying to foster relations between them in a more of a cooperative rather than a combative nature.
okay.
And that we're trying to alleviate a lot of concern. We're trying to make the transition of power smooth as possible. We're trying to let the public know that we are taking measures to increase the security from the breach, as well as redistribute and re-itemize some expenditures in order to alleviate some taxes on the lower middle class clans or lower middle class individuals. That also means that we're going to be raising taxes on the more affluent individuals within the city, but
Don't worry, we don't.
that shouldn't
speak
be
about
in
that.
I mean, that's something that we have already done behind closed.
No, yeah, and I don't want to set the rich people in the city against you guys by publicly making that announcement. The lower
I've done
classes
enough of
will,
that
but
already.
But the upper classes, since they can buy those people, piss off them, they buy the lower classes, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't really.
Anything else that we're trying to do? I mean, I've got the working well with other clans, co-op rather than combative, taking measures to ensure security, redistribute tax on the lower middle class.
We're actually taking a good amount of that money that we are saving that way and spending it on some of the new technology that Thulmorbed has allowed for merchant licenses. So we should be seeing in the next few weeks an influx of the new firearms that they're working on. Handheld firearms, too.
Oh, yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, usually they're only available for the rich and powerful, especially the large cannons, which we have an agreement with the Twin Isles. A couple things going on there, and some with the Lawamban as well. Specifically the Lawamban, they know what they're doing. But we're working on handheld hand cannons, pretty much, in order to make them standard issue for the militia forces here. So,
Keep an eye
having
on them.
said that, we are maybe don't include the fact that we don't really have anybody to train them in that way just quite yet, because it's a very specialized skill set, and the people that know how to use them, as is their right, like to charge a lot in order to teach people how to use them.
You might want to check in with your brother a little bit about that. He might know something.
He might know somebody?
Potentially. I mean, he's
Okay.
been playing around with one of those.
Oh. Well, I mean, we're not looking for somebody to be playing around with it, because, they're very dangerous pieces of equipment that can kill people really fast.
Zemdak's version of playing around, not my version of playing around.
That's
with
even
dogs.
scarier. So,
I mean,
I'll ask him, but if he uses the word play at all during our conversation, I don't think it's going to happen. So, but thank you.
well, it's the best word I can use to describe what Zemdak does with new items.
I worry
not
about
playing
you
to me.
guys.
Have you seen his face recently?
No. Oh, wait, yeah. No, I did. Yeah, you told me about that. It was... What the... I can't. There's too many things I have to do. I'm sorry, I don't have time to be concerned. I'm sure he's
Your
fine.
brother.
So,
Mental heart, dude.
the other thing is that... so that's just one of the speeches we need. Mm-hmm. We also need a State of Steercrag speech for the gentry.
Okay.
So that's for the populace, and then we need one talking for the clan heads. Pretty much something to help them unify under a common cause and not be so combative that they will actually respond to. And this will be most likely delivered in council chambers.
For this one, I have a feeling we should probably include a nice way to say the tax. Is there anything that we're doing with that tax on them that would make them believe that it's better to have that tax?
Honestly, we're not taxing them anymore. We're just taxing them as same as everybody else. The tax rate isn't changing.
We're just applying it more equally.
Not
across.
even. I mean, they're not getting taxed anymore. We're just taxing because of how much they make. We're just keeping their taxes the same and alleviating the as much as we're taxing the middle and lower classes. And that doesn't mean that they take any more. What it does mean is that it means that we're actually getting a little less money, but technically what we're actually doing is that just eliminating a bunch of their they have interests in a bunch of other economical stations here and abroad. We're just eliminating their tax exemption from those interests.
Okay.
Because they shouldn't be.
Oh, yes.
They believe that they should be tax exempt if they put a bunch of money into the temples, and that's we're just, Chiron just said no, that's stupid. So he's just not going to do that.
It's stupid in like the human settlements too. There are some nobles that are able to do this, and then they don't spend business tax, so they undercut all the other merchants, and it's just the worst thing ever.
He's just
the better way to do it.
disallowing bureaucracy to trump the economy, is what he's trying to do. So they're no longer allowed to hide their money in offshore interests, as it were. Put it this way: he's instituting a steer tag tariff. If that's a better way to put it there.
Something we had talked about yesterday.
For foreign interests. Which also means those of the clans, and I won't name names, that like to buy their firearms from firearms that have been sold to the Wamba Dominion, as we have, and then decide to, rather than buy it straight from Thulthor Bed in order to evade taxes, it's not going to be a thing anymore. So it's probably why you've seen a couple of these flyers up in a while, trying to find them at lower prices from people that already have them.
I believe Argus said something about that yesterday. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Technology is great. It should be free for everybody. I mean, obviously, since the Razor Fang has come up with it, there are definitely some misgivings to make sure that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. And I'm sure the Triumvirate is consistently, as I have heard, and has been consistent in their viewpoint about that the safest hands are their own. I'm not going to step in that particular cow pie, but
that's not a fight you're going to win.
It's not really something I want to fight about. It's just. I mean, it's way beyond my pay grade, and I mean, it's working. So I mean, I'm not going to get into it. But yeah, so we're just we shouldn't experience an influx. But yes, if you want to approach that tactfully, if you can.
I'm trying to figure
and of
out
course,
which
we'll
ones
pay
we
you.
need.
We have a good amount of funds. For each speech, we can probably give you 75 gold.
Oh, yeah, that would
as
be
long as
helpful.
they're of good quality. We can probably give you something like that.
Yeah.
So those are 2 on the docket for you. If you could get those done in the next day or 2, that'd be great.
Last question. I know we were talking about the new technology and the handheld cannons. Is there any new programs that we need to recruit people for that you want to bring up to the populace?
I don't. You mean in the speeches?
Yeah.
Like a call to arms and a call to action?
Like, we're introducing this new program that is supposed to accomplish this for the city, but we need bright people.
Oh. Yes, actually. And it was actually my brother that had Chiron thinking about this. They're looking to buy patents.
Okay.
Not my patents.
But but they don't want to do it the same way the guilds do in Thulmor Bed. They want to do it 50-50 split.
What you might want to do then is make more of a national run kind of guild where you're splitting those profits with these people.
We are hesitant to use the word guild given all of the.
No, I do understand.
I don't want to say stigma. It's just, there's a lot of stuff going on there. I think what the idea is to do a 50-50 split on the profits of all sales from that. We purchase the patent, lifetime merchant agreement with that, and we also have the rights to mass produce it because the Razor Fang has the facilities and the industry to mass produce such things. and whatever is mass produced and sold is half of it goes to them and half of it goes to us. But it would be under the purview of whoever the current Lord of Steercrag is under. Irrevocable license is what we're doing. So it's a better deal than the guilds, which are usually want anywhere between a 50 to 90% stake in whatever it is you make because they're bankrolling you entirely.
Is that why Sam left? I mean, I know there was an explosion of some sort, but...
I mean, he doesn't really talk to it. He hasn't really talked to me about it, but that would make sense as to why he turned them down the first time, and the second time, and the third time. So, yeah, we're trying to fix those issues here. So, having said that, most... minutes of this meeting are going to be sent via animal messenger to Logren, since he's still on his way to be our liaison to Thulmor Bed. Imagine that there is a representative of Thulmor Bed in there, because some of the more powerful people in Thulmor Bed are not going to be happy to hear about that we may be a competitor to their patent buying program.
I think, though, the patent buying is good for both of the speeches too, because it also lets the nobles know that we're still going to have income, even potentially greater income, coming into Steercraft.
I agree. Kyron wants this town to be run more by the people than the clans, which makes sense. He's a Carrig. I get it. Mm-hmm. I really do. I mean, I was not really part of a big clan either. I mean, we're Flint Sweepers. I mean, we're Silverveins. And so, we just had a mine. It wasn't really big, so yeah, just be delicate. You did a good job before, and he was impressed because, you give him some messages there. Also, if you are able to, we're willing to also pay you an extra 25 gold per speech if you stay on retainer and end up in the back able to do a little...
kind of like what I helped you with yesterday?
Yeah, mental coaching during it. So it's a potential 100 gold per speech. And we'll let you know when we have more.
For these two, depending, I might be able to help out in the back. Can't guarantee it going forward.
That's fine. We don't. You just if you can show up. If you can't, no worries.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. Yeah.
All depends on what we're doing.
Yeah, I know you guys are fucking insane. So you guys.
Good stories are part insanity and part good grammar and punctuation.
Well said.
Okay.
Well said.
I'll take your word for it. Great, thanks. That's all I have to do. I've only given myself like 5 minutes in the corner to be concerned, so I'm going to go take care of that now. Cool. All right, see you.
Have a crazy story.
All right, yeah, Cole's probably going to end up sitting down and
you
working
can start
for
doing
a few
that.
hours.
So I start wearing my brooch, and I also start wearing that dried lizard necklace, just so that if people see me, they maybe hopefully think I'm part of that group and not the group I'm actually from, since I now know there's people out looking for me.
Okay.
And then I will...
How are you wearing it?
Just regular, just necklace.
Around the neck?
Just kind of...
Under your clothes or over your clothes?
Over, yeah, so when people see, they're just like, oh, he's from that group.
And you're not disguising yourself?
At this point, no.
Okay.
I don't think he has been the last couple of days.
Yeah.
This is one of the cities where it's entirely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Technically, it's not really necessary anywhere. It's just there is...
The reaction you're going to get?
Well, and I don't want to... Here's the deal. I don't want to make it sound like there is rampant racism when it comes to that. It's in certain biomes and certain regions of the continent of CrestVahllen, there are humanoids of a particular ilk that have a history of certain ubiquitous actions. And it's not, and I guess that's technically just the definition of racism, but but it's more of
Stereotypes, at least.
It is not a each person type of thing. It's just there just happens to be quite a bit of bugbear raiders, and there just happens to be this. It doesn't mean
Locke
that
was
all
a
of them
bugbear
are.
raider.
I mean, you were a straight up bugbear raider. I mean, it's not like this isn't this isn't entirely out of character. I would say the closer you get to civilizations and bastions of settlements that would have experienced that type of harassment more directly is when those things would be more noticeable. Your form would be more noticeable.
Right.
But it wouldn't. That doesn't mean they would treat you less than human. I mean, well, human, but you understand what I mean.
Right.
But yeah, but especially here,
Yeah.
you're pretty much good in all of the Razor Fang, really. If you really want to get down with it, there might be some more hoity-toity individuals of higher society that might be like, "What are you doing here, bugbear?" Or like, in maybe Thulmore Bed or other deals, but not really. I mean, you'd be good in the capital of Protectorate. You understand,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would let you know if you were like, "Oh, you're starting to get some looks here."
Right. So then I'll also just work on the armor spell again.
Okay. You got it. You can spend the next 4 hours or so working on that.
And I failed it.
Okay. You.
Do you need a hand log?
Well, I already spent all my hands and used the last one on
my
Terrazine, so
God.
Oh, you
I-
don't have
I
any
do need-
more? I thought you had one more.
no, we that's the one we put on the Terrazine.
Damn it.
Yeah.
See, that was what I was going to see if you wanted to, like, yeah.
We have to go
hang
out and
out.
get another hand then.
Yes, I think we have to go get another hand.
Is there a morgue around here?
Oh, I was just thinking of going and getting a hand, like from a creature, not.
Well, I mean,
not,
but there are
not
creatures
like
in
a human.
morgues.
Are there?
There are corpses, which are objects in morgues.
You guys could go check out those pits they dump everything in. There's probably hands there.
All right. Do you want to go pit diving? Mosh pitting, almost.
I mean, I prefer to go fight
Heck,
something living. So
Okay, all right. I mean,
Remember, Inky Line's inside of there. You could just ask him to bring the hands to you.
I feel like you're right. We could probably get money from killing something that might be harming the city. If we go and fight it, we can get some hands. The hand can help you.
get a helping
Like-
hand.
Yes. Yes. I think that spell yesterday, it was really tricky, but I figured it out. I think I can make it come back to life, and then I can just, kind of curl over and help you,
So it's like a twig hand. Hand twig.
A hand twig, yes.
Just don't make a hand twig.
But it's cool.
Oh, that spell?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, shit. Is that rudimentary for you?
Yeah.
Crap. Well, it's cool.
Yeah. I'd prefer
That
to
is
burn
your
them.
opinion.
That's fair. But it could be a helpful hand. Come on, don't you want somebody else to write? You could have that hand help you write your notes.
they
You could
aren't as
dictate.
dexterous.
That's more work. I have to proofread somebody else's work. That is way more work than I want to do.
That's fair, and especially depending on the spiciness of that hand, it might flick you off a lot if it's if
It
you're
also doesn't really have
I
a
mean,
brain
it's
to
a.
actually know
I mean,
what
if
to
it's a
write.
hand that
That's
log
true.
cut off, it's probably gonna be pretty spicy.
Probably won't be the biggest fan of us.
That's why I think it'll help you the most.
I'll say log.
Sorry.
Hi. This is great. You're having this. You're having this conversation while Log is like looking out the window and like spotting a person who's like, oh, I like that outfit, and you see like someone that's like in like half leathers and like nice outfit and everything, and you try to like do the thing you're gonna do, and you put the energy into it, and you see them like check themselves, and then you feel, oh, there's something flossing my butt cheeks. And they like try to keep walking as though nothing happened and you stole their underwear.
Feels kind of nice.
So that I would count that as a failure because he didn't do what it is he wanted it to do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Bit of a throwback
Yeah.
to Minheim. But when we were at the magic item cellar, I thought we bought the sickle and mace.
We did. Did we buy it or did we just take it?
You mean the Dusk and Dawn I have?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you have those.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Just never use it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you ever...
He never uses weapons. He just casts spells.
It's just fire.
I just wanted to double check.
Really
we still
excited
have
to
it.
see
I
what
mean,
happens when you
I
go.
used my magical sword to help us find which way is north
Yeah.
more times than I use it to try and hit somebody.
Yeah, well, because I mean, that's all it does, pretty much. So
Okay.
Still a magical
I just-
sword.
Yeah.
I was going
That's
through...
how-
All of you are
I was like,
spellcasters.
Basically just
Yeah.
a walking
Never
stick.
used
So
it.
Yeah, I know.
There's not a
I can use
single.
weapons all the time.
All of you are spellcasters. There's not a single one of you that is fully martial.
That's true.
Closest is...
I mean,
Yeah,
he's
but
still
he
a
has
spellcaster.
spells.
Right.
He's,
Yeah.
Which is why you spend.
We
Mage
wanted more
Hunter
complicated
Section.
characters.
Yeah, you don't have like a single monk or fighter.
Well, we
or
did.
Rogue.
And we did.
Yeah.
So
So,
all of those.
And now we don't. But it's okay.
so, not a fighter.
Yeah, we did.
Well, Pernua, if you count Pernua.
Not counting Pernua. We had a certain Warforged friend that was
Oh,
a
right.
fighter.
Anyway. You work on speeches, you work on spell stuff. you're
Well,
doing
just
that.
for a little bit. I only
did you
did
wanna
the
do?
one tablet, so I can go beat some stuff up later today.
I want to find out what Zemdek's doing first.
Okay. Zemdak, there's something else you wanted to do
Just
too?
Start messaging random people.
Last thing you did was the chalk.
Should check in on
Shade on
his
page,
whip.
on
what's his face? The one you murdered and
Rando?
we brought back.
Rondo?
Yeah, Rondo.
Our guy.
No, Rondo.
Leather oil, right?
You can get some
Keeps
leather
it
oil.
like supple and something
can
you
get
would
some
use on
leather
a
oil.
whip, right?
Yeah, you could get some leather. I'd say you can get some leather oil for like a silver at like
Okay.
the local store. It's not expensive.
Can I make like a spiked end for his whip?
Oh, I know what you're saying. Like a bullwhip and
Yeah.
what
Cat
has
and nine tails
I
or
mean,
something.
what is
I
it? I'm
still
sorry.
have some
What?
purple
Cat of
one
Nine
too.
Tails is what you said.
Yeah, cat and nine
The
tails.
scourge is what, yeah.
I was actually
Yeah, you want to
thinking
make a scourge
Umber
out of it.
Hulk
Yeah.
claws.
I'm sorry.
Just make like a Umber Hulk claws. Just make like
A giant underground insectoid
yes.
hulking claws.
yes.
Okay, cool.
The insectoid we fought underground. We grabbed some of its claws. Could I make like a spiked head for his whip?
I would say the claws are far too big for that. You
Okay.
would need, like you could possibly do it if you
Like chop the,
chop some bits off of the mandibles. If you kept
take like one of it and like splinter it into
yeah, you could do
sharp little spines.
that. Yeah, that's something you could make.
And
I
then-
would say you would need some type of
Like weave it.
solidifying resin in order to like put them in to make like a weight at the end of it.
Okay.
And yeah, it's something you could do. Yeah.
And then take the eyeballs of that creature that I also harvested,
Okay.
grind one of them up, and mix it in the leather oil. And
Ah, okay. I see what's going on here. Yeah.
I don't know if it'll do anything, but
Yeah,
like
we'll find out. Why don't you roll a tinkering check? I'm going to say this isn't like it's considerably dexterous or strength. This is more intelligence based.
29.
29. Of course. I don't know why I
Thanks.
make you roll stuff ever. So,
That
yeah,
expertise
I'll
really
say
helps
this: that it is a normal whip
out. Yeah.
that I would say it has a magical property to it. I wouldn't consider it a magical weapon as of yet because you would need an enchanter to infuse it with stuff.
Sure.
Technically, you are an enchanter somewhat, but I'd say for the purposes of it doing its own mundane damage, it does mundane damage. It does have an ability that would be magical in effect. Rather than it being a whip that does, what is it, like a D4?
Yeah.
This would do a D6 due to the extra spike, and rather than it being, well, I guess it's still piercing damage or slashing damage, I guess.
Slashing, yeah.
This would be piercing damage because of the spiked ball at the end. It also on a crit on a natural 20, it does charm the individual that it hits.
kind of like what your poison Kopesh does.
Yeah.
The incapacitation thing. The same ability to the hulking insectoid creatures does. Let me just.
If I concentrate hard enough, I think I can make out most of our notes from like the last 2 years. Oh man, that is after the next session. It will have been 2 years.
It's on a natural 20.
A natural 20.
So the Kopesh has a DC 15 con saving.
Yes, on a natural 20. This is a DC 15 Charisma saving throw.
On a failed save, the creature is charmed.
This is different. This is it's basically confused. And what it cannot and if it fails, it cannot take reactions and rolls a d8 to determine what it does on any given turn.
That screws people over.
Yeah.
Okay. The whip of cursed creatures.
You know what? That totally fits with how Cole feels about those creatures too.
We should also keep an archive of all of our magical items somewhere. That would be great if you could throw your party somewhere. Someone make a Google Doc and throw all of your stuff in there, especially all the homebrew stuff. Especially if I'm going to have our art department do some custom artwork for those items. Would be really, really cool.
We have one of the Discord channels that was up until like a few months, like a year ago maybe.
There is, yeah.
There should be one. That's
There's
what I
still
mean.
one in the.
In the hub. We just need
Yeah,
to
still
update it.
yeah, I know. I just haven't been able to drop a bunch of stuff in there because of so much other stuff I needed to do. But yeah, so it would just helps me if we have one internally for us.
Yeah.
To have, and that way I can always be like, okay, cool, this is updated and this is up to date and this is actually what it is, and I can just take from it and throw it in the hub so that other people can see it as well. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool. Great. So you were able to make that. I would say that would take this a lot. Most of this takes up most of your day. What did you want to do?
I don't know how to work on some things. So we have a cantrip that we came up with, and I don't know how to work on it.
Let me. Is it in the Google document we have or no? That's
Yeah.
Oh, I don't see it.
It's in.
Oh, it's work in
my-
progress.
My flame spells. I don't know if I actually put it up there, but
You did not put it up there.
I have it printed out right here.
You pass it over.
Since now
Put
knowing.
this up when you get a chance for me in your
Yeah.
creative content
gotta
folder
move
for
it.
your character.
Yeah, it's in our Google. It's in the other section of the Google stuff.
Oh, it is? Where?
You're fine. I'll move it
Okay.
because it's from before all that. Finger.
Thanks.
Moving on
Finger.
from our meta knowledge stuff that we've just been discussing for several minutes.
And we'll call it something else.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So knowing,
Oh, okay, yeah.
knowing now that it is, and not something that I have to, that I want to force to happen or choose
Yeah.
to happen, it's something that is.
Yeah.
How can I like?
Why don't you paint me a picture and then I'll tell you what it is you need to roll. Give me some narrative direction here.
So knowing that fire exists and energy is constant, energy exists everywhere, and that it's not by choice, it's by design, that it is and always is, that fire can stay permanent without needing any other energy, and it is there to be there.
Okay. And you keep that belief in your mind if you believe or have faith in something hard enough that it should be something way very similar.
I was gonna
to
say,
any
are you just
things that, like,
imagining the universe as it ought to be? Cool.
all
All right.
kind of morphic fields, right? It's like the people that are most in tune with the universe realize that it is what it is because it is what it is, and the belief system, belief and faith are a misnomer of their actual definitions, and more of just the nature of the way the universe works, like believing something hard enough until it is. Why don't you go ahead, then roll a wisdom check for me?
Natural one.
No, buddy.
I'm not proficient in that. Roll again.
Natural one. You
For 6.
believe. You know it is true. You know it exists. You know,
But then I try to will it to happen.
but then you try to will it to happen, and the idea of you, there's like that bit of doubt that creeps in, and that bit of having to believe that exists rather than knowing that it exists creeps in, and it kind of turns in internally, and you just feel yourself getting hot and getting frustrated, and your cheeks turning red and looking constipated and all this other stuff, and you experience pretty much all of the maladies that you would if you were in a fire frenzy without knowing that you're in a fire frenzy. So you do give yourself damage equal to, well, it doesn't do any damage.
No.
I would say you probably then give yourself 13 points of fire damage during this process, as you wanted to know it existed outwardly, but instead allowed it to exist internally.
And burn more of my insides. It's fine.
It's okay. What is burning?
Smells like Argus.
Start smoking from the ears again.
I don't know. You're just getting ready for the inside to, become the energy and leave the packaging.
Right.
It's okay. I'm not on fire.
If you guys are looking for, I mean, that's most of your day.
Yeah.
I'll say we can just move on to the next day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
but so
before
sure.
stop. Well, I was thinking during lunch after doing the tablet, I was like, well, Argus is right. I should probably try to figure that out. It could make us money. All right. Can I try to talk to Kyron to give me some paper on loan for a bit? I'll pay you back. This spell actually makes money. I know it's not the pyramid scheme. It's kind of funny coming
You're
from
trying to
somebody
get
like
some
me, but
FaceTime with Kyron?
Or yeah, whoever, or maybe like
Okay, roll persuasion check.
Didn't we just get like a shitload of paper?
What happened to your whole crate of paper?
I've used it.
She's making an entire copy of her actual book.
Right.
So she's using all of it very quickly.
Well, but I'm also using it for the scrolls that we
scrolls,
picked
yeah.
up. It's and then random tablets and things.
Wizards are a
It's-
money pit.
Oh yeah, just
Sorry.
Mages in general are a money pit.
Well, I have
a single
paper if you
silver
want to
piece
use it.
right
It's
now.
the
Is it
all
the
you
good?
got?
Because
No,
I used the
it's-
rest to buy
it's the
gold
accounting
in the
paper that
last
we
one.
took from,
or buy
Vixen's.
paper in the last
Oh,
one.
I mean that's good for certain things, but not for this. Persuasion would be 17.
17. Yeah, you're able to pretty much talk to some of the people that are in charge of making sure, like, no, you can't, like, the chief of staff and a couple of other people making sure, like, well, they don't have time right now. And you have this whole timidity to you of being like, oh, do they think they have time? Do you think I could get in there? And then at some point you realize, wait, what am I doing? And you just walk through, and you just
Pretend.
like, ma'am, you can't. And you just like, no, I
got
fucking
business.
saved this person's life. I'm moving through. Here. I'm done. I'm not dealing with you. As you have a little bit of confidence in yourself, and you have like this spurt of charisma as you just move through, and you walk through into his one of his like work offices chambers that he's working in now, and he looks up. He's like, oh, hi.
Hi. Can I borrow 100 gold worth of nice like spell paper? I will pay you back because this spell actually makes money.
You need Steercrag to loan you money.
No, not money, paper. And
So
then
you expect to return this paper?
Yes. or at least with gold.
So you need us to loan you money.
No, it's paper. I promise. I promise this will make you money in the long
I don't
term.
think that makes sense. I think if you need paper, and if you're not going to give that paper back, that's not a loan.
What if
That's a gift.
I
or
wrote
you need the funds for
things
paper.
for things? Or yes, I'll take either.
You
one.
need. I know what you. I know what. I think I know what you're talking. You're talking about like really nice, high quality paper that you can use for the stuff that you do, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah,
what
no,
else?
I mean that stuff's expensive.
I
mean,
I'm very well aware.
I actually make sure that we don't do that. Use that for just regular documents anymore
Oh,
because
good,
it's
okay.
absurd and it's a
Yeah, no,
waste of resources.
Yeah.
I mean, that is not something that we have. That's not really a line item that we've approved as something that we can afford to do. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I want to help you out. It's just, but I can't just arbitrarily decide to give money to my friends.
Do you guys? Well, no, but do you have
It's not
like
my
a?
money.
Do you have like a discount somewhere? Like, okay, you have to get your paper from somebody. Do they have a state discount or something?
I can.
like, that I can at least use that.
Well, I mean, this is super awkward because if I did that, I would like have to literally walk back everything I've just done with the tariffs for the rich people. Because if I literally gave the people that I like a
Okay.
discount and really,
All
you
right.
understand
No,
what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
Yeah, that's fine. What
Like,
about if
that
do you have
would
anything,
suck.
All right. Do you have anything that I could like?
I want to help out. Do you just want a
describe?
loan?
Yeah.
I can give you a loan from my personal funds.
Okay, I
Not
will
from
pay
the
you back
state.
because this will actually make money.
I
I
mean-
promise this isn't the pyramid scheme. It will make
Also,
money.
I don't get a salary anymore. I got rid of the Lord's salary from the thing so we could pay for other things.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I don't really have a whole lot of money.
That
for
makes me feel
myself,
great.
But I'll give you. I mean, the state still takes care of me. I'm like the ward of the state, so I don't really want for anything.
Do you want to like fly around for 10 minutes? I could do something like that.
No,
to make
no,
you,
no,
like,
no. It's
cool?
fine. I'm
Okay.
just saying, like, the depths of my pockets when it comes to like things that I can give you is not very deep. That's all
Yeah,
I'm saying.
no, that's
I
fair.
I don't really use my own money anymore anyway because I don't really have literally all of my whole days is stuff for the city. So I don't really everything I spend is the city's money for stuff for the city. So I don't, like even the food that
Yeah.
the staff gets paid from the city. So I'm good.
Okay.
I mean, I'm the most stable I've ever been, but I haven't touched my actual own wallet in 2 or 3 days. So
Okay.
I can give you 50 gold.
It helps. Yeah, it helps. I can
Yeah.
pay you back with a few punches. It's a punch
Okay.
card system.
Oh, okay. Sure. He pulls out a small satchel. It's like, there you go. If that helps.
It does, and I'll try to repay it as fast as I can.
I mean,
promise.
it's fine. It's no big deal. I don't really need it. It's just, I can't just give you wads of money. And it's not because I don't want to. It's
No, I
because
know,
it literally
I know.
would be showing favoritism to the whole thing that I'm doing with all the rich
No,
people. I'm trying to make sure that they're not.
I totally
Controlling
get
the
it.
system.
I totally get it.
So, yeah.
I know. I appreciate you just lending me the money for a little bit. I will pay you back, and I can.
Well, I can. You know what I can do is that I can recommend you to be one of the people that's. I can recommend you to the top of the list of people that need like work, like jobs.
I mean,
Could put in a good word for you with somebody. I mean, there's what kind of work are you looking for, and I can keep my eye out for it.
I mean, well, the whole group probably can do stuff. You know, we can do our normal mercenary thing. I'm really good at writing things, that sort of thing. I know Cole's good at oration.
Can you,
Everybody
like,
has their own thing.
Do
you
you
know.
do you have any skills in geomancy?
They could figure it out.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What is it?
That means I need an afternoon, and I gotta figure it out.
Okay. Can you like make walls?
Not currently, no.
Okay. What can
Well,
you do?
actually, no. I can't
It
do
helps
with that
me
one
if-
thing. I
Help
can.
me help you.
All right.
Why don't you
do you
tell
have
me
Do you
what
have raw
can-
materials? Do you have some raw materials lying around? I could probably do that. I could do that today, actually, a couple times. Do you have you want to build a wall? Do you have some lumber or mushroom stalks or whatever? I can build a wall out of that real quick, like 10 minutes, done.
Yeah. I mean, we need a tower,
Okay.
an outpost tower.
Okay.
How big can you make things?
Pretty big. Let me double check. Let me think. Think a moment. Something about 10 foot, about the 10-foot cube or 8 connected 5-foot cubes. Just about that size. Yeah.
Oh, that's like an outpost tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, 40-foot tall, 5-foot wide tower. Yeah.
All right. You good with that? Do you want one or two?
Yeah,
of
I
them?
can give you like I can probably stipend you out 500 gold from the state if you could build. You said you can do it in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If you can build an outpost tower on the breach, I can pay you for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here. I give the gold back that he gave me out of his personal.
Oh,
well,
okay.
I feel like at least this is. If I just need that 500 gold. If I can do that, and then I just feel bad because we're friends still, right? Like it's
Question mark.
at least we're comrades at the very least, right? It's like so it's
Sure.
so I just feel awkward with that money. But
Destiny
if the
has
state
brought us together.
Exactly. So Destiny brought us together, but I don't want to, take too much from Destiny. So I'm just going to take from the state instead.
Take too much from Destiny.
Well,
Destiny's gonna go
You've given me a lot to
on
think
the wall.
about.
Well, I when you talk to Destiny quite frequently, you get to know their moods. It's interesting.
You talk to Destiny?
Well, yeah. I pull out Lammy.
Can you introduce? Oh.
Don't you talk to?
Why don't I get you hooked up with the person that's in charge of some of the construction
Okay.
over by the breach?
So 500 for one
You
of
said you
them?
could do that today?
Yeah, I could do 1 or 2 of them today if you need 2.
2?
Yeah.
I can pay you. You said 500 gold, right?
Yep.
I
For the
can-
one tower?
I can pay you 100 platinum if you could get 2 towers done today.
Let's do it.
Great. You said you can do it in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's gonna be
As
huge.
long as you have the raw materials.
Usually that
that's
takes us,
great.
a week each, so that's gonna be amazing.
All right. Wonderful.
I'll send word over. I'll send word to Megara to make sure that she has the forces pull out all the resources. Do they just need to be nearby?
Yeah, somewhat nearby. And then, 120 feet. So it doesn't have to be right on the
Okay.
build spot.
Yeah.
but-
We'll give them the position where we need them built.
Okay, cool.
Some lookout towers. Yeah, that'd be
Awesome. All right.
great. Great. So why don't you head over there? In about, and he pulls a sheet off of what looks like this large cog clock thingy that's built into the table that he's kept covered because he doesn't like how loud it ticks. And it's why don't you head over there in about half hour?
Okay,
And
cool.
everything should be ready for you.
All right.
And then they'll have you sign the work order, and then you can come back, and then you can get paid out by the bursar.
All right, awesome. How are you doing, by the way? Okay.
I mean, it's insane. There's a lot to go about, and Lager and let this place kind of fall into a sorry state. Not that I can entirely blame him, because it was pretty
Yeah.
bad what happened. But I mean, yeah, it's not great here, but it's getting better. I'll say it's getting better.
That's good.
I could use help, more help. Megara's been a huge help, and
Right.
Grey Gloves Silver Vein has also been a huge help as well. They're taking care of a lot of stuff that I just don't have time for. I'm
That's
only one
good.
person. I can only do so
Right.
much. So, but yeah, been really stressing about those speeches that I have to give. So.
Yeah. Well, I know I can talk to Cole again. He's very good at speeches and stuff, right?
Right. So he's
Yeah.
the one we ended up paying for that, then, huh?
I suppose so. I was working on something else for the morning, just tea time.
Cool,
But yeah,
Cool. Are you sure you guys don't want to just stick around and be just get paid and just be part of?
I can't speak for
The
everybody.
staff?
I can't speak for everybody, but I know that there are people that are around the continent that we need to take care of.
You know what? Grey
yeah.
Gloves did tell me about how I shouldn't do that because trouble follows his brother like a bad apple.
Yep. It kind of rolls along. It's really.
Yeah, he's got his own little.
Did you see his cool
scar?
scar now?
He has a cool scar.
Yeah.
How? What happened?
Terrazine.
His face off.
I'm sorry. What?
It's contained. It's fine. It's no big deal. We got it.
He's alive?
Yeah.
How?
Argus.
You know what?
Fire's good. Going back to that
Maybe more of on like as needed basis would probably be a better idea. Yeah.
Okay.
You guys should go.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. And speaking of which, I'm sorry, I gotta.
no,
like,
it's all right. All I'll say is just take some time. I know Megara has that garden, and I've heard gardening is very
Oh
therapeutic.
yeah.
So maybe if you get very
I'm actually
stressed,
supposed to have lunch there later today.
well, that'll be great. Okay. Well, good luck. I will go do my thing. I know you're very busy. Thank you for talking to me. And
Yeah, I mean,
Good luck.
whatever. I'll talk to you anytime.
I
Did they
know.
not let you in?
not initially, no.
Hey, come here. You know who this is?
Hi.
Nope.
No.
Hello.
She's, the Ma'itan who helped. It doesn't matter. Just let her in. She lives here. How do you not know? Okay. All right, listen. Don't be a bitch, boy. Let her in next time, okay? Cool. All right, great. Cool. Let them all in. They're fine. I know I'm busy, but
we won't bother you with little things, but ish.
yeah,
Little-ish
just
things.
anytime you need. I'm sorry, I'm just always so busy. I can't
It's-
really see you all the time.
I
but
know.
I understand. Speaking of which, actually, there was one thing I did want to mention to you. We've been getting reports of. Close the door.
Mage hand.
Oh, okay, cool. You close it faster than on his face. So technically, now that you are being paid by the government, you are technically at least a for-hire government official. So I can tell
Sure.
you this.
Okay.
Kind of. Actually, I probably shouldn't.
We can pretend that you said it after I got paid. That sort of thing. That's fine.
There's as I am, a government official, I have to do with. One of the things I have to deal with is foreign affairs, and we've been getting reports and information about things going on with the coalition, and I know it's probably where you're from. Is that correct?
Yeah, originally,
that?
yeah.
It's not going so great. Well, I mean, for some people, it's probably going great, but there's
A lot of persecution. I've heard a little bit.
there is an organization that has started calling themselves the Inquisition. That is gathering up non-believers and making them disappear. Does Moonchild have to play in here?
I mean, she likes following me around. Moonchild, stop it. Guys, stop it. Thank you. Good dogs.
I mean, it's fine.
All right.
I just,
Moonchild, jeez. All right, well, if it's fine, I'm sorry. She can't
could
help
see his face
herself.
perfectly. I mean,
Everybody.
When he just turns and is like, what?
I know. But,
so this is all very neat to know. I mean, this is kind of
yeah, no, but
national security type thing.
yeah.
But the Inquisition has started to. Their influence and power has grown rapidly recently. So much so that they're starting to reach out to not just the capital of the boss, but to other outlying settlements as well.
Okay.
They're starting to become basically the new government.
That's troubling. We've always tried to balance things.
Yeah, they're from what I know, a bunch of religious zealots that have pretty much taken over control of the boss almost in its entirety.
Okay.
The the Primarch, who was originally in, well, let me make sure I get this title correct. Hold on. I just want to make sure I get this title correct.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I have it in here.
If you want some great set pieces, check out Prince of Ages.
You're printing and painting for your miniature needs.
On Etsy.
I'm sure you've seen tons of the miniatures that we bring around for our maps. About what would you say, 80 to like 70%
Oh, at
of
least.
them?
At least 80
at
to
least
90.
80 to 90% of those are printed and painted by our lovely DM and the main printer for Dice or Prince of Ages, TJ over there.
He's the Prince of Ages.
Oh goodness! All right. So anyway, so the Primarch, you're familiar,
Yeah.
is the and remind me this
Please
because I have to
iterate
write this
this
down too. The Primarch is kind of like the de facto semi-religious, semi-judicial ruler of Babas and the coalition of the Golden Dawn. Not like a pharaoh. Don't think of it like that. But same type of feel of an emperor, more like absolute power. But no one has actually taken the name of pharaoh or emperor since the days of the old pharaoh who self-proclaimed themselves a deity and was said to give Babas the protection of the magical barrier
Stop playing with
that
my child.
Sorry.
the magical barrier that protects Babas from the curse of the wandering, which makes literally anything that dies within the maw come back to life, will come back as undead.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So
Moonchild.
Moonchild is quite feisty right now.
Moonchild is so feisty that she's actually cloned herself, and there's two Moonchilds.
Yes.
It's Log and Moonchild playing.
Just rough house.
I did make that joke,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. They like snuck in with you and just like, we're gonna play now.
We've been cooped up in this town, this fang for a while.
Exactly.
So,
Okay,
so the Primarch has. He has heard. So this is like really on the deal. We've heard that the Primarch has fled Babas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Primarch has fled Babas because they feared for their power and their life, and the not everybody knows that. The Inquisition is also keeping that on the DL and putting the idea that the Primarch is still there
Yeah.
and that the Primarch supports the Inquisition. But the Primarch has lost pretty much their power and
Right.
doesn't have the ability or
It's a
the
figurehead now
people
at this
that-
point. You know.
They're not there anymore.
Yeah. It's the promise of
And the
a.
Inquisition is just kind of keeping up appearances. At the moment, the Coalition of the Golden Dawn is considered a failed state by the Razorfang Agreement.
And this has all happened because the protection came down that one time, yeah?
There was an incident where the barrier failed and lives were lost. And a organization, which is now an organization, but a group of strong religious believers, and blamed it on the lack of faith of those within Babas. And has, as such, for all intents and purposes, outlawed any non-belief, anybody who doesn't believe in the deific pharaoh of old as apostates,
Right.
and they can arrest and do whatever they want with them. They kind of took over. Many of the people converted to the cause, including those within the
military or like the standing guard.
Well, what choice do you have when you're, put to... That was very strange, Moonchild. What choice do you have when you're put under, like, duress? Seriously, fear is really quite a good way to control people.
A lot of that kind of got seeded throughout the power structure.
Right.
So much so that it went all the way to the top. And the Primarch eventually had to flee. We heard about this yesterday.
Okay.
I know you probably have family there.
Yes.
So this isn't something that we're making public. I don't really have the power to reach out individually.
Right.
But it is right now the official stance of the Razorfang Agreement to not have dealings with the Coalition of the Golden Dawn anymore. Technically, that means that
Are you having to go through this other entity then?
No.
I know you can't have the Coalition of the Golden Dawn, but now are you allowed to go through the other at all?
No.
Or is it just cut off completely?
Cutting them off.
The entire maw you're going to cut
They're
off?
cutting off the entire maw. They passed the legislation yesterday.
I mean, that's going to impact trade, everything.
Yeah. And it's mostly because many of the Razorfang's own citizens have been harmed or arrested and the Inquisition has done it with impunity. And there's barely anything we can do about it, so the best way we can save our own citizens is by cutting them off. This wasn't my decision. This was passed by the Triumvirate themselves.
Yeah, I know it wasn't.
But that also means that all Maitans and all Merisian people's status as refugees, which allow them certain protections ever since the Razorfang Agreement was first consigned.
This is huge. This is hundreds of years.
It's the first time since the War of Old where your status has been revoked.
Which
you, as a person, if that's where you came from, I don't know where you grew up or where you've been, but you said so, are considered a rogue element, and you no longer have citizenship. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this.
No, I'd rather know from a friend than, the random officer on the street that might just arrest me for doing something silly.
That also means that...
Like being there.
I can do nothing about it. I can help you as a person. But that also means there's a lot, because of this passing of this legislation, that means that members of the Razorfang have become far less distrusting of those of Merisian peoples.
Right.
Whispers and talks and rumors of spies being disseminated into the Razorfang, since we are their nearest neighbors, in order to spread the beliefs of the Inquisition or whatever, or try to do some other type of takeover. It's my understanding that the Triumvirate views the Inquisition as some sort of plague, and they're trying to quarantine the Coalition as best they can.
I mean, radicalism is never a good thing, but...
It's not my place to say. Again, politics, not my thing. I don't know what it is.
It's interesting because considering where you are now.
Well, that's a little different. Like, I try not to get religion too involved with it, which is why I am making sure that, the temples are a completely different entity, and that the clans can't hide their money in the temples anymore. Religion is a tough one for me. Destiny is one thing, but anyway, just be careful.
Thank you.
There's a lot of talk of spies and that type of stuff, and I don't want you to be accidentally mistaken for something that I know you're not.
Thank you. I mean, I haven't even been there since I was a little girl. So it's...
Yeah.
So he needs to save all those coins for Destiny.
I will need to tell it to
Depends on how
my
much Destiny charges.
friends, of course, in the flame.
I
if we can
understand.
do-
Just
you know.
try to keep.
Nobody can see this right now, but Apollo, come here, buddy. Come here, bud. Come here.
I don't know how he got past us. He did, though.
He's more floof than dog.
Moonchild just comes up from under the table and just looks at Kyron. Okay, go away. Go away. So anyway, there's a lot going on there. It's pretty
Yeah.
dangerous there. One last thing.
Yeah.
Because of the official sanction of not any more trade or whatever that's going on there, because they've considered it to be a failed state at the moment, a lot of people have defaulted or I don't want to say defaulted, I want to say turned to less amicable ways of trade. There's been a lot of black market dealings going on there. Specifically, what we're noticing is that one of the reasons what I've been made aware of this is because we are on the eastern side of the Razor Fang, so we have a greater chance of this happening to us and more of these type of black market dealings passing through us. But I mean, the one that is much more at risk of doing that stuff is Donderall, seeing as they have the underground tunnel that goes directly within the depths of the Maw, and one of the greatest trade routes that we have with them. Okay, can somebody get Moonchild out of the room, please? So, I have been made aware that some of the more black market dealings going on here have been trading some of the animagine techniques and animagine tools
Yeah.
for some of the more advanced
So a little trade in the
Razor Fang technology.
Yeah. The technology. Yeah.
Meaning that the government doesn't have control over it anymore. Neither ours or theirs.
So it'll be
Meaning
a
that
arms race, literally sometimes.
that we don't have control over.
No.
We've lost. That's one of the big reasons why they decided to do what it is that they did. And unfortunately, it looks like it's even exacerbated the issue. But there are a lot of bad actors out there right now that now have access to both Animagine technology and Razor Fang technology and Magitech technology. So, which could be in the wrong hands.
It's
We don't know what could happen.
devastating. I mean, quite frankly, if I know the little bit I know of both, well, little, it's
There was an entire
Yeah.
caravan carrying some of the most advanced Animagine experiments and technology that has disappeared entirely.
Do you know where that was? Off the top of your head? The last time they were seen? Only if you know. I know that this is probably a detail that might not be.
I don't know specifically, but if I had to take a guess, probably along the major trade route, one of the
Yeah.
underground, either the underground trade route from Donderall goes straight to the Babas catacombs and the Karasova underground. If I had to take a guess, Karasova has a lot of rich people that have estates outside of Babas that have enough money to protect themselves from the curse of the wandering.
And of course, if they're going to do that, they're going to.
And there are some organized crime syndicates that like to work with the rich people there. And it's well known, but there's not a whole lot the Mauritian people ever did anything about it. Well, organizations ever did anything.
yeah.
It's more of like something that they tolerated because it was a necessary evil. So if I had to take a guess, probably the Karasova underground.
Okay. All right. It makes sense. Again,
consider this a favor.
yeah.
I
no.
shouldn't be telling you any of this.
Again, thank you for doing so, because it does directly impact me, because I'm
Also,
very profilable down here.
there's nothing that I or any of us can do anything about it anymore. So if you just happen to find yourself in that area
Right.
with what you have done already, not that I'm trying to say that, look, I don't want to turn you into political G-men that just go out and like make sure that, hey, the Razorfang's in trouble, we should help them and like get rid of about the people that are giving us trouble. But
No, but I mean,
I'd like to think that we're on the better part of history.
I think overall there are lots of people in the Maw that are not in favor of everything that's been happening, period. And so I'd like to think that we're on the side of all those folks, not only here in the Razorfang.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm so sorry, but this has taken a lot longer than I actually had.
Yeah, no worries. And thank you again for telling me all this and giving me the heads up, basically. Is there one last question? Is there any like stipulation in there about if they would reverse it for the Golden Dawn? Any, their decision?
The triumvirate?
Yeah, if they were to reverse their decision on anything. Like, I'm just trying to, find a way to mend fences, so to speak.
From what I understand, the trade that we have with the Malaysian peoples is highly beneficial, and it's a very symbiotic relationship. Cutting it off like that is going to hurt us almost as much as it hurts them,
I know.
if not more so. And I feel like the reason why they did so is to try to prevent
I just didn't know if there
these
was
bad actors from entering.
I just didn't know if there was like a stipulation, like, oh, we'll start trading with you again if the Inquisition is no
I
longer
don't
in
think
power.
they thought that far ahead. At the
Excellent, great. I'm so glad that people
Well, I
in
mean,
power
not that,
that
again,
don't
I'm not
think
privy
ahead.
to what the triumvirate decides.
No.
I mean, you'd have to ask them.
That's okay. That's fair. Again, thank you for telling me. I really do appreciate it, and on behalf of everybody on our group,
I can't imagine that should the coalition become more stable if they wouldn't try to renew ties. But I also, things in history happen. I used to study a lot of history growing up, and sometimes these types of things happen, and they form. That's that becomes the new world order, and then they form ties with somebody else, and then that's how empires fall.
The only question is, was it done by destiny or something else?
I hope not.
Yeah. Well, I took up plenty of your time. You'll have a couple new towers today.
Yeah.
I have lots to think about myself now, and stuff to relay to my friends in
For sure.
private, of course.
Okay, yeah. Take Moonchild with you when you leave, please.
Yes, sorry. I don't know why she was being Moonchild. Seriously, why were you acting up? All right, well, we'll go.
Yeah.
For expediency, we'll just say that I can cast the tower.
Yeah,
stuff, and
you
then
absolutely can do that. Expediency, you head there later that day. You can cast it. There's plenty enough of mycelial timber and stone and a bunch of stuff where you can fabricate them to be. It's not like that complex of a structure. It's scaffolding with a post up on top, with like a roof.
I can do that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
stable enough that you can, the first level is stone and the rest is scaffolding with mycelial timber, and then enough for like 4 people to be up on top.
Okay, I'll get the 1,000 gold. I'll then buy.
You can do that. I will
Some
say
paper.
while you're there, they do let you know about needing. If you can do that, they'd be willing to hire you for some other type of like hunting groups or anything like that. They need certain types of materials given by, certain types of materials I won't say. They're always hiring people to thin out the numbers, as it has from the breach, since lately there's been a lot more activity. But that's up to you. As far as details, you'd have to talk to somebody.
Okay. Let's go back. Well, I'll relay everything to everybody at this point that I've heard. I would have cast it. Yeah, at some point. I really like. I know my father's stuck being tortured right now. I don't know about Papa Micah.
Is it?
But
Is
I
it?
would have told you all this in the Sky Lounge too. Rug over, so people don't know as much.
Is it these people? This Inquisition?
Yeah.
Because he's a non-believer?
I mean, he believes that's the thing. He is a teacher. So he must have said something that was considered reckless or not against the old ways, even though there's been like new
He
papyruses
was a
written.
teacher.
Yeah. So,
They came for the teachers first.
yep. So that is probably why. I haven't asked more specifics, but it's possible. So, and I don't know what happened to Papa Micah. I think he overall would have converted, when he married my father, but I don't think he was a strong believer, so to speak. So I would imagine he's on the run if he's not also imprisoned. So it's good times. Yeah, I'm also just concerned in general because if there's division and trade being cut off, I think we know who might be actually really in charge.
Behind it?
Yes. And that inciting event of the barrier falling, we might know a necromancer, just saying,
I mean, Karadine might have been a test run for the Maw.
I think it could very well be. So, I made a lot of money, guys, but I would like to go that way if we can at some point.
Well, why don't we see
you-
if we can use the teleportation circle? We have the money to pay for it, and we have a circle.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Did you need money? I could have loaned you something.
I know, but like I just,
Here in the middle of a...
It's either that or take a month to get there.
Yeah, but that's a month of potentially finding all these materials for him.
And a month of her father being tortured.
yeah, he.
Okay, fair point. But
Yeah. Not only my father and other teachers like him, but more. Because if there's anything, we can learn from history is that people do not just stop at one stage of eradication.
very true.
So,
Zemdak, you're familiar with how the economy works in Thulmore Bed. Can you roll a history check for me?
12?
I'm trained in history.
You can do it as well.
Tells us to do a check when we haven't said anything.
16.
16. Zemdak, this isn't good. If they stop trading with the coalition, they have a wealth of precious metals, and one of the big things that they have is in being in a desert setting. A lot of the underground parts of their desert setting and a lot of the valleys have a wealth of precious metals, very valuable to the construction of Magitech. Specifically, it is also great testing grounds and cultivation grounds for terrazine, because it is wide expanses of vast, barren land that can just be dropped, and then terrazine can be grown, and you don't have to worry about anybody being hurt and stuff like that. Granted, there are underground terrazine things, but it's a lot more packed, more densely populated areas in the underground, and there are specific containment chambers made to create spent terrazine, but they take a lot of time and a lot of energy, and they're very dangerous to create. Whereas you can just drop a piece of terrazine in the desert and run away, and you just let it grow for a couple acres, and then come back and collect it, and then it's done. Yeah, yeah. Let the sun's rays heat it, and it just nature takes care of it. And there's a bunch of other things, they have some agreements with animagin techniques and a bunch of other stuff. There's a triangle with your kind of knowledge combined of the big traders with the highest ones in technology. What's going on is the Razorfang Agreement, the Coalition of the Golden Dawn, and the Luwamban Dominion.
Wama Dominion has the most fertile soil out of everybody, and they have the best agricultural techniques and the most advanced agricultural technology, as well as a bunch of other stuff that they kind of keep under wraps. Razorfang has their Magitech technology, which they keep under wraps, and share most of that actually. Their biggest trade agreement they have is with the Wama Dominion with that, but they also do a little bit with the Coalition, and the Coalition has barren land that can do a shit ton of stuff. So much they are technically with the exception of the Protectorate, the largest nation with the least amount of population, meaning that there's so much they can do with their land, and there's a good amount of, because most deserts used to be seabeds and stuff like that. There's a lot of very precious metals and other stuff under there.
I would imagine too that if you're cutting off that trade, anything from the Twin Isles too would also be either much more expensive because it has to travel much further,
that means it's
or
going to have
just
to
cut
go
off.
all the way down and up through the Needle in order to make it to the Razorfang, rather than pass through Brackstar and head over across from the Maw straight to the Razorfang via land. Which, they have fast ways of doing it. They've been doing it for hundreds and hundreds of years. You guys realize, kind of together while you're mulling this over, this is in no way sustainable. In no way is the Razorfang agreement going to be able to survive economically if this continues. The whole of the Razorfang agreement is going to be in massive amounts of debt if this continues for an extended period of time. So much so that Minheim and Tokran's Trust could go under.
And Tokran's Trust is the bank of the entire continent.
Of the entire continent. With the exception of the Lithuanian Confederacy. They still use their old currency from the ancient Elven Empire.
And if they have to go through the Needle, you're not going to think they're going to get taxed to get through the Needle when
Definitely.
that's the main trade route.
And the Needle gets raided. I mean, that's where logs from. The Rubicon Plateau have people that raid that. It's not as safe to travel.
And they can't even get in through Caradim.
Yeah.
You can't get through Caradim anymore.
You would actually have to go up, I think, to the Protectorate and potentially going through there,
So-
or up to Minheim.
Caradim is shut down, closing off a trade route. Now Babas is shut down, closing off another trade route, choking the Razorfang of resources and economy.
Making people have to go in through the north.
If the North still stays open.
But who owns the north?
Well, part of the North.
One of the
is
reasons
owned
that
by-
made Razorfang so powerful is because they had so much money, and they're bleeding, they're hemorrhaging it right now.
I'm from the north, and we're kind of in the Protectorate, if I remember correctly, but to the point of, like, we're in the borders, and they say we're part of the Protectorate, but we potentially haven't seen somebody in a long time.
Yeah, that's going to change.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what I know.
Cole, you also know trade through Vonens Farvel. Vonens Farvel is at the top of the mountain. Nobody actually goes to Vonens Farvel. It's like this old shrine. Nobody goes to it, but there is underground entrances to the mountain range at that locale. And at the north, it's nowhere near as well traversed as from the Maw or from Caradim,
Right.
or from the Protectorate. And just because the conditions and one of the only big worthwhile trades up there is the ice trade, and a couple other things, but maybe some lumber, because that's the closest place that has good lumber. Granted, so does the Protectorate, but it's more fields than it is dense pine forests that are up there. So you also know that, having done a couple things, like being in the trade and knowing how that kind of works up there, and being the the son of a merchant, know that because your father was one, your mother was a guard, know that trade route is not meant to handle the amount of trade that's now going to have to sustain.
Right.
Meaning that it's gonna bottleneck it pretty badly. meaning that you guys kind of figured this out. Like, there's no way this is sustainable. The Razorfang is going to hemorrhage cash really quickly, and it's going to decrease their power considerably, making it so that they're going to have to try to depend on outside investments. They're going to have to do like fire cells when it comes to their technology. Like, these are the types of things. This is a cascading failure if this continues. So much so that like settlements could collapse. People could starve. Like, this is the type of thing. They depend largely, because they've grown so big so fast, they've depended largely on their agreement with the Lawamban Dominion to have such great amounts of food. I mean, they have enough food. They grow a lot of food underground, but they import a lot too. They import more than they export. So, and like one by one, their connections to the rest of the world are being shut off.
So I guess the question is, do we try to change religious zealots' minds and the power there, or go back and try to deal with zombies? I'm more apt to going to, to the place where my fathers are, of course, but...
We might be involved in zombies in both sections.
Right.
The problem, dealing with Security 4 and all that's dangerous in and of itself.
Yes.
Turning people to stone, etc.
And yet, it's an enemy we know there a little bit more than one that we know going towards the mall.
To be fair, her family is in Babas.
Right.
Yeah.
So I vote we go help them.
I'm not denying that.
It's,
I'm saying I'm just...
it's definitely going to be a different tactic than what we've done before, though, I think.
So...
Find the
no
High
going
Inquisitor
in
and
burning
So
stuff.
not burn shit? I don't
Don't
understand
go in
the
and burn
difference.
shit until somebody tries to kill us and then kill them. That's
I mean-
that's been our plan for the most part.
Yeah, but I
so
think...
chaos until things come out in our favor.
But,
Chaos is a ladder.
yeah.
I mean, look at that grouping that we had here with like the Vogel grouping. That was pure chaos.
It's pure chaos, but there's a difference between, following your clan and following your religion and your beliefs, and changing minds that way is a lot harder to do. I don't know. And sorry, it
yeah,
happens
he
though.
will-
It's like there's.
Cole
I'm not
will
trying
look
to
at-
throw shade
Cole
at you.
will
It's
look
just
you when she says that and go.
The mob benefits from the Razorfang just as much as the Razorfang benefits.
oh, absolutely. I mean, like, and then of course trade with Twin Isles and everything. It's
So if they are cutting themselves off, they're hurting themselves just as much as they're
To
hurting.
be clear, the
us.
information that you
benefits.
got wasn't that the Maw was cutting themselves off, is that the Triumvirate decided to cut them off.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Which makes me wonder. Should
So
we
it was
be
like
dealing with
shooting
the
your
Triumvirate,
foot
or should we
despite
be
your
dealing
face, cutting
with
off your nose
Babas?
despite your face.
they become that
Who's in charge?
problematic. I would assume the Twin Isles, but also
Or someone
Conclave.
has convinced them that they have become that problematic. True.
Yeah.
It's very
But-
clear who's in charge, and it's none of the people we've been talking to.
But if the barrier's down, the Maw itself is in so much danger.
I think maybe that's something we can work on. That seems much more achievable, at least.
To be
Working
clear,
on fixing
the
that
boss is the
barrier.
only one that has that barrier that prevents from the curse of the wanderer within its borders. There are numerous. There's quite a few of their settlements within the Maw that don't have those protections, that have learned to live with it.
But if that was one of the inciting events, you change that, you save the people, and the fear goes
Yeah.
down.
No,
So
I'm
it's-
not arguing.
yeah.
I'm just letting you of it's not the only bastion of civilization within the Maw.
Sure.
It's just the only one that has been protected. Now, with such a great population density, that type of barrier has become almost entirely necessary and required, because with such a great population density, because who knows how many people die every day, and that could be huge problems. Smaller populations are much easier to manage when it comes to the curse of the wandering than massively dense. We're talking about like ancient Egypt, Cairo. We're talking about we're talking about like the Great Library, like huge civilization, all built around this beautiful oasis that has thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah. But restoring the barrier and making it more fail-safe seems more achievable than transforming thousands of people's minds instantaneously. And it can help with that, right?
How many of those people minds are actually changed versus feel forced to be in that world?
I don't know. It's
Most
always
people
been...
don't switch religions that quickly.
No, but
They'll pretend
I mean,
to save their skin.
there are a lot of people there, though, that's already believe that, and then it's just an intensification. The fire is growing bigger, so to speak, right? So it's hard to quench it afterwards.
They're like, hey, grow your fire bigger or we're going to beat you in the head with a bludgeon.
Yeah.
Which one are you going to pick?
So it's not that they're changing their religion, they just start becoming more dogmatic.
Zealotous.
Yes, more dogmatic. Yes, is exactly the way I would put it. The religion,
More
itself
dogmatic?
has not really changed.
Oh, God.
It's just becoming more.
That's a bad joke.
I couldn't walk away from it.
It's okay. It's all right.
I'm hesitant to say extremist, but kind of along that type of, more dogmatic.
Yeah. So that's why I think it's tougher than some other places necessarily. But I could be wrong.
More like
I'd like to be wrong.
fundamentalist, too, I would say, something like that.
Yeah. I'd definitely like to be wrong.
There's only one way to find out, and that's to get there.
Yeah. All right.
We at least have an idea of what we're trying to do there. I have no idea what we're going to do down in Manhattan.
Yeah.
The other issue then, if you decide to head in that direction, the other issue you're going to run into is how. How are you going to get there? The path of least resistance would be through Donderall and through that path, which has most likely been
Cut off.
now technically the
Well,
entire underground that goes to Karasova Underground and Blibabas Catacombs right before it gets to those spots is Razorfang territory because it's underground and it was built by the Razorfang Agreement in order to do trade with them. And one of the things was like, yeah, continue to share your stuff with us and we'll build the trade routes because they could. They had the manpower, they had the techniques, they had the skill. So there's this little arm that goes out that's still technically part of the Razorfang, and most likely at some point there's like some sort of embargo or barricade or what do you call it? Blockade.
I mean, even the teleportation circle that we have now, if there's been this cutoff, I'm sure that that's going to be somewhat restricted in how we get there. However,
Right, but it's still
So
there.
we just pop up in the middle of wherever it is. They're not just going to let us wander into their city.
He's got a
Or those
bean.
zealots
Go ahead.
gonna do that if we
Go ahead,
just
roll Arcana checks for me.
Out of nowhere.
Not me.
I think we actually did something to this effect before, but go ahead.
26.
26. You, with your basic understanding of how teleportation magic works, very, very difficult to prevent against it. Now, the power of the barrier is also very, very strong magic, but that's not what it was meant to rebuff. It was meant to rebuff and be more of like a consecrated hallowed ground type of deal. Now, but who knows what has changed? Yada yada.
We just had someone practice it 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Right. And it went through fine. Meaning that like most likely teleportation magic there would work. What are you gonna do when you get there?
That's
That's
less
what I was
worried about
asking.
the teleportation magic. I'm more worried about
Like, how are the
Do they
zealots
respect-
gonna
How do
react
How do you
when we
explain
just
that you
pop out in the
shoot
teleportation
showed up
circle?
at the ziggurat,
Right.
at the Primarch's ziggurat?
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were asking.
Do they respect the bean and the maw?
Well, they
They
did.
did.
I don't know now.
When they were the coalition of the Golden
If
Dawn,
they
we'll find out.
if they're such
If I
the
have
bean
to-
doesn't exist back in the old texts.
and
That's all I'm
And I'm
saying.
going to say this: if they're
Right,
coming
the
for the
bean
teachers,
Is
they're
a more
probably
contemporary
not.
thing. Sorry, go ahead.
What I was saying is, if they're coming for the teachers, they're probably after the bards as well.
Yeah, because you guys also teach, through your songs and the writings and stuff as well.
College kids.
I know. What the
so.
Hey, we just like to tell good stories. The fact that the majority of them are true stories pisses some people off.
Armgrim could potentially get us through the worm tunnels. It would still take us time to get there, but
The only other thing I can think of is
I'm gonna save you some time too with that, because that's a very good point. Ermgrim can be here when you guys are having this conversation because he's around the Fang.
Yeah.
And he can be like, Yeah, I can get you through there. I can get you to the boss. I can get you to the underground. I can get you to the Karasova underground as well. I mean, it'll take a while, but well, depends on whether we can actually wrangle a worm or not. We can ride the worm. I mean, it's
It makes sense.
Kyron's namesake. He's the one that literally know. He's the one that has the text on how to do it. If I can figure it out, if we can ride a worm, we could get there in days.
And I'm sure once we get into the actual desert, it's easier.
Getting there in days than
Me
because
too.
I was worried about travel time.
Yeah, if we take the road, it's going to take us a month to get there.
Plus blockades, plus all the things that would be in our way.
sneaking in.
Pop-
I bet you they probably have people watching that teleportation circle if they're looking to
Yeah.
get people.
Yeah. And then where
So
would we
can't
say we
in
come
guns
from?
blazing or fire blazing.
Right.
No guns.
We've only got one
Guns.
gun. We've only
Gun.
got one gun, single gun.
Gun blazing, fire blazing.
Magic blazing. Magic blazing for the most part,
Doesn't mean
obviously.
actually put a wall of
Blasting.
fire around the portal right when we get there.
The only other thing I can think of is Papa Micah was a trader. Like, you know, he did trade.
Okay.
So,
Not that type of trader.
no, not that type of trader. He's a merchant, and not in, yeah.
Not a T.
Exactly. Sorry, my accent.
Depends on how well how well you've gotten over on the customers sometimes as to how they spell it.
So
But he might know good routes or something. I just don't know where he is right now. So if we can talk to him, and maybe he's not with my father and got
Also,
out.
when we
I mean,
talk to your
I could
father-
probably get you close, but I mean, if you want me to actually get you there, the
can you
bursting of a worm, if we could get a worm, which is
Yeah.
a whole nother thing.
Oh, but
and
that'll-
if I can figure out how to ride it, or actually better yet, we should have Kyron ride it, because he's the one that, with its namesake, they probably listen to him better.
He's kind of
You
stuck
talked
here.
about you riding plenty of
That's what I remember.
I remember you telling us about riding
Right.
worms.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
How many worms have you ridden?
So I mean, if we get there, and, I mean, like a worm bursting through the wall was going to be viewed as like an encouragement, and it's going to be like, of
Yeah.
course, like
Yeah,
oh, well,
we don't want to burst through the wall. No.
I mean, well, I mean, like
It would be
it's,
cool,
it's
but
difficult to be subtle with the massive creature that digs its way through the earth,
Getting us-
screaming and eating everything in its path.
We want to get as close to the catacombs as we can get, and then make the rest of our way stealthily.
Yeah, I mean, it's like threading a needle with a cannonball. So,
Those catacombs, are we going to find more like the catacombs we did under Karadim? Because those were
Yeah.
not the nicest things
yeah,
either.
yeah.
It's about the same.
oh well, I haven't been to the catacombs myself under my boss, but what I heard is that the barrier only goes so deep.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
agree.
undead.
I got some holy water. I made some.
And the Malaysian peoples in the old days really like to entomb their dead.
We know.
Yeah.
Wait, how do you know?
Found one.
Where?
Karadim. Didn't you just get
We-
that?
Wait, what?
We also like I've read a lot about stuff.
No, wait. I'm
What?
sorry. Karadim is out of the Malaysian territory.
There's
Yeah.
a Malaysian catacombs there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Like ancient Malaysian catacombs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We found some
You meaning
ancient
that, like, so
colonies
like the Malaysian peoples?
At least their burial practices fill the catacombs under the.
Yeah, that dude was not fun to deal with.
Well, I mean, if
He died, right? He
one of the
ran
things you
away
learn
for
by
a long
being
time.
so underground for so much of your life is that a lot of old stuff ends up down there.
Yeah.
So the deeper you go, the more older stuff
That's
you
where all
find.
the surface people put the stuff they don't want.
So it's kind of like a view back into history. That if you found Malaysian catacombs in Karadim, that means the Malaysian peoples,
built Karadim.
well, maybe, or at least
part of it.
settled that far west.
on top of their old city.
Right.
Maybe they even. Well, I don't know about
It
that.
seemed like they
probably
built
would have
the
found
tower.
more within the
Yeah,
Reserve
they
if
definitely
went
did.
deep.
It seemed
But-
like they built the tower in Karadim.
So regardless,
Oh,
it was a
there you
little
go.
further than
Long
before.
story short, can you look up information on riding the worms?
I can make an appointment with Kyron. Or force him to make an appointment.
The rest of us need to gather whatever supplies we need to
Yeah.
survive undead in
If
the
Logren
desert.
was here, he'd probably be the better person to talk to, but
Who?
Logrand already left.
Yeah.
Logger never rode a worm.
No.
No, but his father did.
No, it was his father-in-law.
Right.
And and I seem to remember some, dwarf telling us that he had ridden a worm before, but now he's
wasn't there
telling us he needs help.
that was
So
really
weird.
boasting about the worms he'd ridden?
Exactly.
So many worms.
Can't even do ascending.
For me to get one that's big enough for all of us,
I know it's already really hard to find a
I
big worm.
understand you can't control the big
a
worms.
little bit. Okay. I've wrangled like little ones, like ones that are big enough for me to get where I need to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So
so
you're
it's
saying you
Cole.
can't handle the big one?
Yep.
Sounds like an issue of faith to me.
I'm gonna go talk to Kyrie.
All right.
So I'm guessing it's towards the end of the 37. So
Yeah, you got this. We'll
we'll take one more
37
day
epilogue.
to prepare ourselves, and then
Yeah.
the 39th we should.
Yeah, because
can go.
full disclosure, I see this as being probably the last time you're gonna get downtime in a
Great.
long time. So if you guys have any unfinished business, now's the time to do it.
I will say this: there's probably a few drafts of speeches next to Cole, and one of them probably ends with, "And if you don't like it, then fuck off." But it's crumpled up by his side. He knows that one's not good, but got to get all the bad ideas out first.
And we'll let Eleazar do some of his downtime as well.
Yeah.
We'll do that retroactively when we're here next time.
It's okay.
So, just real quick, you got 1,000 gold. You can do your unless you want to role play your speeches. Did you write anything out?
I've tried, but I only got to a certain point, and I do not have 2 full speeches here.
Don't worry. Why don't you just do me a favor and just write some. I'm gonna say just write just a. For you, it could be either because you're proficient in both, but this isn't either a persuasion or deception or anything like that. It's just kind of both.
Yeah.
So just do a charisma with proficiency.
Okay.
So it's just like it doesn't really prescribe to either one, but at both at the same time. So just it doesn't really matter.
22.
22. Okay. Your speeches go really well. They're received quite well. I'm just doing this now because both of these speeches are actually going to take place tomorrow on the 38th. I'm just doing this now just so you know you have these funds available should you need them for your last day of downtime. Make sense?
Yeah.
These speeches go well. Kyron does stop you in the hall and say, hey, thanks for that. Are you available next week? I have a meeting with some of the liaisons from Thulmore Bed that I'm going to need to help with.
Unfortunately, I think we may be in a bit of a travel time during that time.
Okay, yeah, where are you headed?
That place you told us.
Trisheni, the conversation you had with her yesterday, we're gonna see if we can look in on some of that.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Okay. Good news on that front, by the way. Benefactors come forward to try to alleviate some of the debts from the triumvirate that could possibly come out.
Oh, do you know who those benefactors are?
They're actually one of the things is I don't know if you heard, but recently there was an assassination attempt on one of the members of the triumvirate a couple weeks ago, if not a couple months ago. I can't exactly remember.
I think we heard something about it while we were traveling, but we couldn't
and
get
so
great details.
They have been mulling over whether they want to continue their duties as the triumvirate, given their health and a lot of other concerns. And so the seat has, for all intents and purposes, possibly been open.
You mean kind of like what happened here in Steercrag?
Kinda, yeah, kind of like that. And so there's been a foreign entity that has been willing to bring an influx of trade and cash and everything into in exchange for one of the triumvirate seats. And that's the triumvirate is seriously considering it, and it seems to be a good deal all around so far. It'll also really help to, mend some old really bad grudges. And
I totally get bending the grudges, but
yeah.
Kadadim's shut down. The one that we were going to go check on is shut down. All of a sudden, Steelcrag was in this same situation. That's a little...
Yeah, good times ebb and flow. I don't really know what else to tell you. I mean,
Just keep your eyes open here.
empires
in town.
rise and fall. I mean, we're just trying to do our best. We were so high up there for the longest time.
I'm
you know,
just
we're
a
due
little.
for a little bit of a
I'm just worried
recession.
that this is a little bit of an unnatural one.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a good point. Maybe. I mean, then again, I have no say in it whatsoever.
I mean,
so...
trust me. From the little bit of history I did pay attention to, there can be a bunch of things that all happen at once.
Cool.
But there's a lot of things here,
You think this
especially
is...
influenced from outside. Yeah.
You think this is by design?
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of infrastructure and power and influence somebody would need to be able to do this by design would be greater than all of the entire... They'd have to have everyone in the continent in their pocket.
That would be something just crazy, wouldn't it?
You see, like, kind of realization dawns on his face. Oh, you were telling me about the... Do you really think they could?
It's a possibility.
Look, I mean, if that's really something that you're thinking about and they're as powerful as you say, we shouldn't even be talking out loud about this.
It's true.
Yeah. Just want you to think and be aware.
I can't do anything about it. I can raise my concerns in a week when they come and for me to actually...
And
But I don't have any voting power in the Triumvirate.
No, but we do have somebody who's there talking with
I'm
them.
a new clan. I'll be lucky if they even listen to me at all.
No, but the former head of part of your clan is there talking.
That's a good point. You know what? I will send...
Let him get in good with some of the other triumvirates
I'll
and see
have
what
silver...
keep an
I'll
eye
have
out.
Gray Gloves send someone.
I think somebody needs to send something.
Yes.
That's what I was talking about. I'm going to have Gray Gloves do some sort of communique to see if we can keep this. That's a good point. I'll read him in on what's going on here. If that's a possibility, I'll have them keep an eye out for that. Your Silver Glove's brother's still connected to that thing, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll keep you updated if I have any updates on that.
Good, thank you.
As far as I know, it'll be the first elf in the Triumvirate.
I was going to ask, could I do a history check? Has there ever been an elf in the Aetherveld?
You don't even need to know roll a history check. There's never been. There have been one or two humans throughout the entire length of since the beginning of the Razorfang, but it's been mostly gnomes, dwarves, and there have been like a handful of humans, if that, and that's been it. Actually, I think there was a moment where one of the Triumvirate members had died suddenly, and their adopted son, who was a goblin, was the acting Triumvirate member for a short stint of like 2 weeks before a new one was elected. Nothing bad happened. It was good. They did a good job, but they were, ill-equipped for the job, and they just tried to do their best. Not because of their race, just because it was not entirely expected, and they were actually called away. They were actually called back to the Razorfang from another life that they were living. Like they were a family man in one of the
In Goblin Town or something?
No, just in another town in the Protectorate, and they were called back because like, hey, we need you to do it because in order to keep stability in the nation, and they did, and then they just were in a hurry just to get back to their family.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, most of the shorter races really, nothing. No halflings, I believe.
Gnomes and dwarves. For the most part.
Yeah, the Razorfang try to stay out of halfling politics, especially since all of the tensions between the Northern and Southern Dynasty, them being at war for so fucking long, and they didn't really want that to be pulled into that, so a halfling never really got put into the Triumvirate. So mostly dwarves and gnomes, a handful of humans, and a single goblin. This would be the first elf. The Razorfang agreement was ratified
Just stop the
to
elven-
work together to fight the elves.
Yes.
So the fact that an elf would be inducted into the Triumvirate is highly unprecedented.
Yes.
Granted, this is also something that Chiron is a bit of an optimist in this and everything. He's a bit of an idealist. You kind of get that sense from him. He's like, oh, well, this could be a really good opportunity for us to, mend old wounds and stop old grudges and actually have us work together. But then you also point out to them but what if it's not?
What if it's somebody who is alive like that far back and still holds a grudge?
Yeah.
Or
But
their
anyways,
family still
so
holds a
this is the
grudge.
first time there's elf there. Apparently from one of the powerful families
Yeah.
from the Lithuanian Confederacy. Yeah. I can't like really remember their name. I can't. I'm blanking on it right now, but something sounded like aluminum or something. I don't remember.
Anyway, different one. I was looking at his family.
Something with an A. I don't remember.
Ehrenbach.
Ehrenbach.
Yeah, that's why I was like, nope, it's not that one.
Do you say that out loud?
No, no. We were doing comparative notes real quick among the players.
You could say it and see if he.
Ehrenbach, was that the name?
That's it. Yeah. Fuck. I believe it's the not the lady who's in charge of the Ehrenbach, but the lord of the Ehrenbach house is being inducted. Well, possibly inducted in Triumvirate. It seems that's where all the it's like just in time too, swooped in right when like things were starting to be. Because it's kind of a cascading thing. If there is a, you ever go down the Triway and there's like a stoppage, everyone's slow. Even once the stoppage has stopped and it's been cleared, that slow part still happens because people have stopped, and it's kind of like a daisy chain effect. Same type of thing. If once we get to a certain point where things get slow, if we don't keep up with it, people are going to get hungry down the road. We have to think 6 months ahead of time, pretty much, when it comes to that.
In his brain, I'm going to literally tell him in his mind, their adopted son they're feuding with helped get you where you are.
Destiny. And then he tells you in your mind, so that's a good thing, right?
No, because they're feuding with him, and he got you in power.
So it's like a bad thing?
Not necessarily the best family to have.
But I thought you said but he helped me.
And they're not getting along right now.
Well, I mean, I'm not my barrel, not my monkeys. But I mean, it's family issues that are family issues.
I will put in, we suspect they were backing the Vogels.
Oh. Yeah. I'm gonna make sure that this is communicated to our liaison. Gods.
I can't
Like,
tell you
as
much
soon as
more than that.
I end up in power, and then I can't do anything with the power, and then everything happens. Okay.
Your power is to help protect these people.
All right.
Did you say which council member was leaving?
Yes, yeah.
The Tokrin?
Oh, no, this is after the
Godmir?
speech. So I was letting him know
Feldsburg.
that he was asking me to help him next week. Said we were going to go do that. And then
The one that had the assassination attempt on them, and is it that's
It's
due to
leaving.
health concerns is leaving.
trying to become part of the Triumvirate.
Feldspark.
Okay.
But given what Scuttlebutt says, the new member has more assets to contribute to the Razor Fang than even Tokrand.
Wow, that would mean that a section of the Triumvirate has no power even though they're in there.
That would make Tokrand somewhat obsolete, yeah.
Even more
And
obsolete.
Feldspark would be gone.
Leaving Godamir.
And what does
Enough.
Godamir do again?
They're the craftsman clan.
A working class.
The ones that
Still keep those for folks, right? If you're trying to.
what better way to control an entire region than to control the working class?
Exactly. So, win them over. Keep them still under your thumb.
Just a couple of points to think about.
Darth Thora is, especially from what I've read and what I've heard, Darth Thora is a woman to be reckoned with. You do not mess with Darth Thora Godamir. She will... I mean, if this is a conspiracy, and...
And Tokrin may be overshadowed, but they're not going to give up either.
No, but...
But how much?
If they lose the Golden Fault, they lose the majority of their power.
Well, and how much is
They'll
it?
try to liquidate, most likely, but
How much is the loss of both the entrances through Keradim and the boss going to cause Tokrin?
Tokrin's already experiencing record losses due to the close of Keradim.
Right.
No.
They've never been this far in the red before.
What?
I mean,
What-
it's
what-
affecting our economy here.
What happens
I see
to
it in my fucking ledgers.
And if word gets out too, of course, then people are going to run for the banks to pull their money out. And of course, there's not going to be any money
Exactly.
to pull.
People are already doing it.
Yeah.
Several of the Lawamban Dominion and Protectorate largest investors have already pulled out from Tokrin.
There's.
It's
I
it's
wouldn't
like
be surprised
dominoes
if
are
they.
falling really fast. But again, this could be
they were lined up.
if it's not bad. Like I am.
I hope it's not.
I hope
bad,
it's not. I hope it's not because it could mean that everything's okay.
But the bit of history and studying that I've done. Bad.
But you're a bard. I mean, the lady Masha Ironbach has funded the entire the new annex to the Bardic College, the whole College of the Unearthed. She bankrolled that.
Great.
And
So
where
they're
do all the bards
philanthropists.
go? Where do all the bards
Controlling
go?
all of the way that information is distributed around the whole world.
And you have access to all of the information that everybody like me is gathering and sending back.
History than to control history.
Control the narrative, control the masses.
She has access to spies that can cross borders because of this.
And they don't even think of themselves as spies, so they can have plausible deniability. It's ridiculous. Well, that's, but
Hey, I thought this meant something when I got it. Right now, it means.
it's still a shiny bean. It's still very cool.
You know, as long as nobody else realizes how worthless it is, I can still use it.
It's all the
I
power of
think-
belief.
Okay, Cole, you're not worthless.
I think
a little
Silvervein.
bit.
I think Silvervein
You're gonna come up with a fun
is
story.
going to be working a lot more nights from now on.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to bring in our friends in on this. I think.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
We know the corruption hasn't got there.
And I think the buying the patents is a good idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe see if our liaison can work an under the table ally with Godamir to help with that too.
Yeah,
If it needs to, a little more bed is the
Right.
preferred capital, but always pull back.
Continue to do what you have been
it's
doing.
not handled really well. Could lead to civil distrust and possibly civil dissidence. Worst case scenario, civil war.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like Steelcrag just was?
Well,
That was different. That
that
was
technically was sanctioned.
It was millimeters away from worse.
Oh, well,
Look how fast
cultures
it took
are-
over
I mean,
Karadim.
every culture is
Right.
different.
You
Some
should
people
ask your
fight all
brother
around.
about the poisoned flies we had to deal with.
I'd rather not. Okay, I have a lot to think about, and now I have a lot more work to do. So I'm sorry, I have to go.
Oh, yes, of course.
But thank you for letting me know this and not allowing me to sleep tonight.
Well,
Hey,
if you don't
we'll all
know
be-
about it,
Join
though,
the club.
yeah.
if you don't know about it though, you can't plan for it.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
I'll still give him a little
Well-
bit of like mint tea or something, just that I have.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will put a comforting hand on his shoulder and say, "We wouldn't be leaving you here with if we didn't believe you could do this."
If you have any other information on this, you just let me know if you can. I'll do my best to try to keep myself distinct from whatever's going on, but my power is limited.
Yeah, it might be.
I
Remember?
serve at the pleasure of the Triumvirate.
You
I
do.
can make it so you can get something done. Your power is little, so you're not as big of a light shining on you.
Yeah, I'll try to. I'll try to keep Steertrag. At least give them a modicum of self-sufficiency and somewhat independence.
Yes. If you can do
Karen,
This
don't
has always
forget,
been a bastion. Just
Yeah.
keep it that way.
Yeah, and I could always do it under the guise of military stability.
It's the Wild East, man. You know? I think overall, too, like, you just keep doing what you are doing, and it's...
Don't
Breach
forget,
is
Kyron,
also
you
right
are
here.
a child of destiny.
The deep state is a thing? What the fuck? Okay.
So the only prep I want to do is a barrel of water and a bunch of rations, just in case.
You know I could make that
Okay,
stuff,
cool.
right?
I know, but what happens if something happens to you?
You're just gonna have Conk carry the barrel of water?
So now you're
I'll
planning
go in the.
now you're planning my.
Wait,
know
do you
what?
still have
I
all
can't
the...
fit a whole barrel in there.
No, you
can I?
cannot.
Well, there's still the box.
Smaller casks.
There's still the
Wait,
box.
do
if you have
still
room to
have all
unfold the box in a tunnel.
This is going back really far. Do you still have all the casts that like I grabbed back from after we had broken into the tomb?
Bunch of them were
that far.
used during some parties and like celebrations.
Yeah, I think we did. I was just
Yeah, so but like a cask, a smaller, not like a full barrel, but like a smaller cask.
Yeah,
You gonna stack them one on top of each other?
get like 5 gallons of
Till your
water, something
hole's
like that.
filled?
It's enough water for 1 day among you. 5 gallons.
I will make sure I create water.
No, I just
Or
mean
should I do create food and
a
water?
couple of them.
You guys also, Trishendi can cast Goodberry, which
Yeah.
gives you enough water and food for the day. So.
Yeah.
If I get separated from people that can keep me alive,
Yeah.
I won't-
Water bit, but it's still...
Yeah, because like
I
I can
appreciate
make
that you guys can
make
do that
tech,
for
but I
me.
can't make food and water. I'll
appreciate
starve.
that you guys can do that for me, but
I mean, I appreciate
like-
you.
I'm
They're
also
like-
not going to rely on you.
I can totally see Zemdak like in a
He's a
collapsed
prepper.
tunnel. He's not really though, because he's kind of he's this other side of a prepper where I can totally see Zemdak in a collapsed tunnel separated from everybody else and finishing like, I made it, free energy, as he just dies of thirst because he can't create any water or food or anything like that. He just creates a miniature sun, but
No food or water.
no food or water. What's your
I
survival
can totally see that.
score?
0.
There you go.
I got +5.
I
No
think
survival.
That's wisdom.
No, okay, so 1.
I made a lot of gold in 20 minutes. Do you guys? I can clearly spend it on paper, and I will spend some of it on paper.
Yes, what I wanted
but-
to know about. You have 200 gold, you have 1,000 gold. What you spending?
Yeah, but do we want to put some? I'm more than willing to put a lot of this towards like other things we would need, like diamonds or whatever.
We have plenty of diamonds.
Of the 200, I'm probably going to keep like 50 gold and put the other 150 into the party fund.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause you guys raked the bottom of the barrel
Yeah.
during your downtime. Yeah.
I mean, I could do 50-50 with buying 500 gold worth of paper because I know that I am a money pit.
How much paper do you need?
A lot.
How much paper do you need?
How much money's worth of
How
paper
much
do you
paper
need?
Trishendi,
do
could you
need?
use all 1,000 gold on paper and
Oh,
still
probs.
need more? And
Props.
still need more to
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like 3 third-level spells.
Yeah. Oh, props. Oh, props.
Do
I
you-
mean,
do you need this?
give me a moment and I can calculate
I
exactly
mean,
how
don't
much
tell
I need
me.
to get.
You
I have.
I know,
I mean,
right.
like I said, I have that 150 if you want it.
I know, but like I feel terrible being a money pit for just paper or a paper pit, if you will. You know,
Keep
like-
us alive.
You know, you've helped me buy books and stuff, so I'm totally willing on sharing.
Okay, let me figure out how much I
the
actually
map? You
need.
helped me buy the map.
General adventuring supplies.
Yeah.
Good to find those.
Yeah, I mean, again,
That's
you
true.
just
Yeah.
You did. So.
if you want packs,
I still got a
Dungeoneers
couple
packs,
tents.
Spelunkers packs, anything like that, you can buy that stuff and stock up on that on its listed prices.
Should
Crap,
probably stock
Yeah,
up
this
on
isn't
some
this isn't
clothes
a
for the
town
maw,
that is.
too.
You,
I thought we already
you-
got some.
You don't need to want for equipment.
I need an extra set.
Underground
Because
town
you
of
were wearing
mercenaries.
yours
There's
for the longest
plenty of
time.
that stuff here.
You were wearing your desert
No,
clothes.
you were wearing them when
Acid?
you got harassed, right?
Yeah, no,
Acid,
I've been wearing them since I got harassed.
Just like a single vial of acid.
They have
You could
been my
probably get a
clothes since
single vial of
Carradine.
acid from an alchemist around here. Yeah. If you, I believe you cleaned house when it comes to potions as well here, didn't you?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you did. Yeah. Potions take sometimes weeks to create, so if not months.
Do we need
You know what we need to
mage
do?
hand The little bugs and
Get like
the other
half
bug
of a
drops
body
so that we have
and put
inventory.
ink
Oh,
in it,
your bugs
so
are
we
dead.
can always have him making potions.
Well, that's
They
my
were alive
original
last
plan with the original
I was
hands
gonna
we
feed
had.
them to
that?
mimic.
He's got
Oh, you can do so. I mean, because they
Like stuff the top of the jar against the mimic.
they just don't have any food.
Right.
They
That's
were never
not how
given
it
any
works.
food, so they starved.
Or air.
Or air.
That's
So yeah, you can feed the carcasses or like the barely.
So the
alive
other
ones to the
vial's
mimic.
empty.
So, does the mimic fall asleep?
Hard to tell. Because a mimic in sleep looks exactly as it would just being still.
Do mimic sleep.
Yeah, do mimics sleep?
If I were
Are they
to
immune to sleep?
copy every, well, hold on, one more. 'cause
I'm
then
like
I have
inclined to
do one
believe that they probably are immune to sleep because they're like those ant
they won't-
lions. Because even if they are asleep,
opened it.
they sleep so lightly that any like change or anything in it is going to wake them up.
So
Like they sleep like ant lions would, which means they just like enter this dormant state where they're any subtle movement around their surroundings just wake them up immediately and they're ready to go.
Trance.
Something like that, yeah.
Elven trance is a mimic's sleep state.
amazing. So it would take me about 670 gold worth of paper to basically do a complete backup of my spell book, plus get all the scrolls that I don't already know in there, except for the ones that are like super
How much?
high.
Except for the ones you
670. Yeah,
And then you'd be done.
I'd have everything backed up. I just need the time.
You'd-
to do
everything backed up and all of your scrolls would be in your
New
spellbook?
all the scrolls except for the ones that I can't
You
do
can't cast yet. Sounds like a good investment.
Yeah.
It really does.
All right. I mean, can I put 300 towards the party fund then, and then I take the rest? I do the
it.
buy the paper,
Yeah.
and then I have 30 gold for getting Shakar back.
So what spells does that give you then? What new spells would that give you?
If
So I know what.
if I were to
scrolls-
succeed, the new scrolls
Okay.
would be knock and Midas's touch.
Why don't we do enhance ability and guidance and give you?
Come on, Trishani.
Right.
I mean, I can't do both. He has to do enhance ability, and I have to do guidance.
Right.
And
And a little bit
And then
of
an inspiration.
then-
All right. For
Let's
me,
give, let's give all.
for me to do that, that'll take me 12 hours to get the new ones, and then copying
whole next day.
is not a big deal.
Yeah.
But I can do that. I do have a tablet of fly though. If anybody, I was thinking Eleazar might need it, but because we can break this and anybody can use it. But it's up to you guys.
I mean,
I
I've
thought
got
it'd
the
be helpful.
Featherfall
I have a
one, so
featherfall one.
Okay.
Yeah.
This, I just feel like we run into
know-
holes a lot.
it might not be a bad thing for him. Like, remember when he got like jettisoned out that one time?
Yeah, and he's.
But he can kind of teleport too.
I don't think so.
You guys both have Misty Step.
Right.
That's
and,
true.
And I
What
think
spell is that?
Midas's touch.
Yeah.
Let me double check if I do have it. I do have Midas's touch. I do have knock.
Oh,
All
I
right.
don't know
You
how
don't need any more
wonky my
spells.
healing spells.
I don't
have
need
been.
more scrolls at the moment.
Huh?
No.
So how wonky my healing spells have been. That's could be scary.
Right. So
Those are
yeah,
just
a
eyes.
flying fireball. It'll be kind of fun though.
So we just don't get hurt.
Right.
I mean, we just threw a bunch of money into the party fund too, so we're not.
Yeah.
What are
Okay.
you gonna do with it?
The party fund is more when we need it. than what are we gonna do with it?
Right.
It's okay.
Right. It's called savings.
Yeah, so I'm going to spend the rest of whatever today is. I'm going to take moonshine.
Today, the last day that you're doing downtime, I believe, would be the 38th then, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So are we still on the 37th or are we on the 38th?
No, you're on the 38th.
Will I have time to try to not ignite
We
my
just
inners?
did his thing beforehand, so they would have his money available for a day.
Well, so it might not be the full day, but I want to basically try and make some money on the street with Twig and Moonchild in my shofar, and just do a little street. We're just having them kind of do a coordinated dance together.
Learn from Sofka with the rat circus.
Right.
Trying to do that type of thing.
Because I've got 1 silver, so I'm just trying to make something.
Okay, you've got 1 silver. Amazing. You got it. You throw that silver into your
What the fuck?
your hat or something.
What is that?
I assume you're
Totally
enhancing
6.
ability for
Yeah,
this
it's not
stuff, right?
good.
He was gonna.
Or
I was
D,
kind of calling
right?
for you.
Yeah.
He was gonna enhance ability, and I was gonna guidance.
For her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. there
And
you
I
go.
threw an inspiration in there
Oh,
too.
there you go. Yeah, you guys all kind of gather around Trisheni when it's time for her to do her spells.
And if she starts
Go ahead and roll a
cursing,
performance check.
I can flash of genius and help you out.
by the way.
Okay.
You probably should.
You guys are built. You're a support. Like it's pretty.
We are a
you have-
support party, like up.
The way you have constructed yourself with this is that
14.
anytime someone needs to make a very important check, it's like it's not gonna fail. You cannot flash of genius,
13.
advantage. If you have time, if you have prep time, it's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Natural 20 for a 23.
All right. We got Midas's touch. But I had to use your inspiration.
It took
And your-
everything.
His flash of genius or
No, I did not use Flash of
Okay.
Genius.
That was the only thing she did.
So
Yeah.
natural 24, 21,
23.
23. Okay, amazing. So you become the new
Red
Fine.
Students
We're good.
Mischief?
On.
the new Sideshow sensation. What do you call yourself, Log?
Log in the street dancers.
Log in the Street Dancers. Wonderful.
You had a lot of other log names. Why'd you go with that one?
Yeah.
Well, because they're not the fire starters. You guys are the fire starters.
I mean,
Yeah.
Tweg does this really cool thing where he like turns into ink and he moves like across the cobblestones and fills in the cobblestones along the way, so you kind of marquees logs in the Street Dancers for like a second or two.
Magic.
And you are doing this type thing where there's just a moment, like there's some times where Log just does the whole cartoon thing where he's kind of like breakdancing a little bit, and then he does the and then like spins as if he's like spinning on his head, and then he's somebody else. And then he spins again, and then he's like RuPaul, and then he's like somebody else, and it just keeps happening. And you use disguise self to just change your person. You very spin, quick change, wardrobe spin, quick wardrobe change, Looney Tunes style. Tweg is your hype man who's in the front doing, and Moonchild is doing. No, Moonchild is stealing from the people in the crowd.
That
That sounds
actually
about right.
sounds exactly like what Log would have
So
told her
you're
to
being
do.
the distraction. You get a good I'm gonna say 87 gold from all of the people. Most of the money, like I would say,
Most of it's stolen, not what was
yeah,
thrown in
maybe
the
like
hat.
like 19 gold is from like people throwing money. The rest of it is stolen from Moonchild, just sniffing into people's pouches
You said
because nobody
80s.
suspects a dog.
So it looks like a
stealing
human.
Yeah.
You said 87?
Well, she does when she needs to. Yeah.
No one expects a dog that looks like a human sniffing through people's
Yeah.
pouches.
So 87 gold. Yeah.
Because everyone would expect to look at their hands.
Can at least have something to spend. If we
As you
don't.
steal from the working class. Cool.
We have
helping
made it very
Trichetti,
clear
will I
that
be able to
other
try?
than Argus,
What?
we are not good people.
And even he's question.
What was the question?
what's up?
I said, will I still be able to try to not ignite myself, but ignite a flame outside of myself?
If you want to try it, yeah, you can try it. Because all you did was enhance people today.
Yeah. I don't remember what we rolled. That's good. So with just a wisdom check, it's a 20.
20. Yeah, you get. I would say you get. It's a 20 or above, so you get 2 successes out of 10 on that one.
Okay.
The other thing then is, I will say, if I'm going to role play it just for a moment,
Yeah.
there is a moment where you finally grasp the idea of what the Immolate was trying to tell you, as far as you need to know that it exists, because it does exist. Your belief is not a factor here. I don't care about your belief. I don't care if you believe it or not. It exists. You need to believe. You need to know that it exists. Don't believe it. Know it. And
It's a hard concept to get
did you want to
figured
do any conch stuff? No tune-ups,
did some,
modifications.
I did some like planning and preparation, but I don't want to mess with him yet.
Okay.
I don't have the materials I want to do like a full
Got it.
upgrade on him.
You can
So
always go try to find Rugrog doing
Yeah.
all the adamantine.
that's I'm waiting for better metals essentially to like rebuild him with.
Oh, we could do a Mark II.
Don't have those.
Or, huh?
Right.
Oh, no, I was saying Conk.
Grugrug's headed
II,
to
not Crash.
Minheim,
Well, he was headed to where we fought the first worm,
and then headed back to Minheim.
and then headed back to Min.
when there's nobody there waiting for him.
They'll figure it out.
Good times.
And the vault is in crisis.
And he's gonna come rolling in with all this.
As the vultures descend.
We
okay.
make good decisions.
I'm sure he'll be fine. He'll realize
He'll
what's going
figure
on.
it out.
He's not.
He's a smuggler. Like that's kind of.
This isn't his first rodeo.
He's a
No.
smart boy.
When it comes to
So,
this.
if nothing else, then.
No.
Okay.
You know, sleep well, dog.
Well, I've got the badge now, so.
I know. Never hurts.
Expend all the charges.
Right. Just see what happens.
So, if nothing else, or did you need a moment?
Need.
Touristy trinkets, like some hunters' little like tooth necklaces or something like
Yeah,
that.
you
Do
can
we
get
need to
stuff
buy
like
any
that.
more
That's
holy
some of
water
the stuff
than
you
what
gonna.
I just got?
Yeah,
probably
there's
should.
quite a
Yeah.
bit.
We could
There's,
just
actually,
go
that
over
market
and
here
make
is actually quite affluent.
Cool.
Well, I don't say affluent, but quite.
How do you make holy?
I mean, it's obviously just
I
like
make it in a forge.
the tiniest teeth off of
doesn't
whatever they
evaporate?
caught.
Nope.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
trying
there's
to
a
make-
lot.
That's one of the ones you
that.
can teach me, isn't
I
it?
just want to get stuff for the. I've been
That would
getting
be crazy.
souvenirs
Let's
for the
make
family.
more. Let's
I wanna
teach
do.
Log how to make holy
There's a lot
water
of that. You
Oh,
can get
I would love to see that.
and marry people.
some
Hey, joint
some
tentacles.
necklaces of claws and teeth, or some amphitheater
Yep.
talons.
Join you in the tentacles.
There's
of
some
chaos.
earrings of
Yes.
Thing and thing.
what are those little? There's
can restore
like
their
giant
original
badger
logic.
claw earrings and stuff like that.
And touch a humanoid that's coming of age.
Some lizard
Sounds
teeth
inappropriate.
necklaces. That
Do a
whole deal.
burial.
Cool. All right. So then it's
I,
not,
I will say, so I didn't get to just time wise. I can't copy everything into my backup, but I have the paper to do it over time, so I'll just keep track of that initially. But
you said you need 12 hours, right, to get it all done, or
I need 12 hours to get the new spells into my book, but all the copying of the backups, which don't require rolls, will take longer. So I'll have to do that over on the road a little bit. But that's okay.
doing it on the road is not going to be possible.
I
If
mean-
you are aboard a worm. That's not.
What? No. Like at night, spending 1 hour to copy something down.
Oh yeah.
How many days will
what-
it take you?
I'm gonna do the rest of the math to figure that out, but
You can tell.
so I've pretty much spent the last 2 days just copying that. But otherwise, whenever we're traveling, I will be telling you guys more about the religion, etc. That is part of theirs in case you ever are interrogated. So you know, like,
I really
and we can
wanna know
maybe
about the religion and how they embalm people. And
Right.
Get spirit souls into different containers.
I can tell you a little bit. Try that. But then I'd also
Argus
suggest
intends to raid all the catacombs and just being like, souls. I've got souls.
it might
Collect
be
them from the canoptic jars.
it might be worthwhile too, Zemdek, if you make one of these as well for everybody. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, just wear it. You'll be safer. You know.
Yeah, between the two of us, we can knock a couple of those out on the
Okay,
way.
it shouldn't be hard.
You guys make a couple of Aya Horus necklaces. Cool.
So, just to be on the safe side.
Put little flames in this.
And then I go back.
Little flames in the people.
Yes.
You're like, my maker's mark. Cool.
On the back.
So, then if nothing else, you guys bed down for the 38th.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's
Log.
third day.
Can you please roll? Can you dream
I
roll for
did
me?
cast that before we went to bed. I
And
did
I've got
say
the
that.
badge on anyway, but
I
Yeah.
need to roll for the heart.
Brain
when I
badge.
wake up.
Yeah, where we wake up.
19.
But whatever you and
19.
Badgie got going on is between you and Badgie. I could resist. I don't know why I did that. He's about to-
You end up back in your dreamscape. The lambs are still there. I'm sorry, the lambs are still there. The giraffes are still there. And they're
3D now, right?
ugly as ever.
Yeah.
The progress has been made on the mine fortress. You now have 4 towers
There is a moat. The outer crenulations of the walls has been mostly completed. There are no creature comforts. The inside, only the fortifications has been completed, meaning that it is as defensible as it's going to be, but it also means that it could not withstand a siege because there's no the amount you could stay behind it is very low, and actually survive behind it if you needed to. Meaning, for it to withstand the brunt of an initial assault, you'll be okay, but that's it.
Right.
Meaning it still needs more work. So, your dreamscape does not quake tonight. The clock tower is still there. You do notice that about at a certain height about the clock tower, a bunch of like wood and paint chips are just like missing along like in a strip along that same height. And then you look at that, and then you look at the height of the giraffes. And the giraffes have just been like gnawing on the clock tower at just a specific height. The quarry is looking sparse. There's not much of the quarry left. Gaul is doing their job, facilitating what's going on with everybody. Pinky is not working right now because most of the work has been done for what it is that needs to be done, except for the interior. They have been taking a moment to kind of just sit among the giraffes and then just be like, where have all the flowers gone? Type of feeling of like, oh, pretty giraffe. Kind of like meditation, flower child kind of feel. What?
Are any of the giraffes missing brains?
Would you like to try
I'm
to
not
attempt
there.
to
I'm not
open
there.
the
I
skull
don't
of a two-dimensional giraffe?
I'm not there.
Combined three-dimensional.
I can't do that.
Oh yeah, they are three-dimensional, but they're just drawn weird.
Pinky's been, sustaining himself on beer and whatever else is
Yeah.
in that tavern,
Yeah.
so I'm not worried about the giraffe brains.
One of the things you do know as you're kind of moving about through your dreamscape is that the giraffes aren't the only animal in the paddock. There are a few lambs here.
Yes.
Are they all sheared?
All of them are half sheared.
The same portion that
The exact same portion that you were able to shear from the one out before it poofed away. You see Moonchild kind of jump into your dreamscape and automatically just instinctually try to corral and herd the lambs and the giraffe. Life is good.
I
here.
assume that the lambs look better than the giraffes do.
The lambs look like actual lambs. Yes, they do. They look exactly like the one that was only partially sheared during your current dream. You are making you see that Gaul. There's the tavern, there's the clock tower, there's the quarry, there's the fortress, and there's the paddock. Gaul looks like outside of the fortress. Gaul looks like he's building the beginnings of like a small, I don't want to say shack, but like a small homestead, like a ranch. There's the foundations and some stuff being planted out. Gaul has a nice long beard now. You have a beard, but this is like longer and just a little wirier and straggles down. He's like, oh, hey, what's going on? Yeah, I just like thought it'd be nice to not always sleep on the piano.
I probably should have thought of that at some point.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's fine. It's just, it's just life's life. And, when we're going to sleep, I don't know when we're going to sleep, but it's be cool. We could, maybe we can make, a community. Things keep joining this place. So maybe,
I see that there's lambs now.
Yeah, we've got,
Did you shear them, or did they just come that way?
I mean, I noticed them, a couple moments ago. I hadn't seen them before now, but it's cool. It means we can have chops.
I mean, yeah. I guess there's enough of them now.
I mean, I've eaten a couple of the giraffes. They just keep coming back.
Do they taste good?
Kind of like paper.
That tracks. That tracks.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fiber. So,
No, we've all done it.
I mean, if the lambs do the same thing, I guess they just keep coming back. So it's just fine. It means like infinite food. Not that we need food, but it's
Well, I mean,
good
and
to eat.
wool.
They're
You know,
Right?
can, like,
Yeah.
make shit.
Is that vegetarian still?
Paper.
It's a plant.
Don't ask me this question. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I thought like once I make this little humble abode, I thought it might, I don't know, maybe I'll make Pinky a house.
I bet he probably deserves it at this point.
Yeah,
he's,
yeah.
he's helped a lot with the.
Or like a barn. I know he really likes hanging out with the giraffes and the.
Whatever floats his boat. I mean,
Right? Yeah.
To each their own.
That's fine.
Not in my head.
Whatever happened to little man?
Oh yeah, he's not little anymore. It was kind of funny when he was, but no, he's out in the
It
the
was
real
really
world.
funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost stepped on him a couple times, but other than
I
that,
totally did step on him actually a couple times. Yeah.
he wasn't happy about that.
Oh.
It's still funny though.
Oh, good thing you. Can you get hurt here? I don't know. I never tried. Anyway, we'll,
There's nothing
gonna make
about
a little, kind of, getting on in years. So I thought I might settle down.
I mean, you don't look a day over me, except for the beard.
Thanks. As very kind. Cool. Yeah. Life's a thing, man.
It is.
It's a thing. So.
It is a thing.
Yeah, I don't know if you thought about. I mean, I guess I could probably think about. Maybe I might I try to think up some friends or something. I don't know.
We got Pinky. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Pinky talk much, so
I guess that's true. Is he any better at charades now, or?
The giraffe try some origami.
On himself?
Yeah. A little grotesque, honestly.
I don't think I want to see that.
Yeah, you don't have to. Why did you draw them like that?
I'm not an artist.
Right.
Like,
No, it's fine. I mean, I'm not saying that I could do it any better. I'm just.
And then once the quill was on the paper, it just kind of.
Sure. Yeah, I get it. It's just, it's hard. Like, I look at him every day, and it's like, what kind of cruel God would create that? But I get it.
Yeah. No, the next time the sheep look fucking awesome.
Yeah, the lambs look good.
They're half naked, but
They're lambs, so they're young and they're children. But yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, not children, but they're not gonna. I don't think they age, so we're just gonna have to kill the lambs the way they are.
Well,
and eat them.
do they need? What are they eating? Do they need grass? Do I need to make like a?
I mean, you made
field,
grass.
I did.
Yeah, it's paper grass, but.
You drew it with the giraffe.
On your drawing, there was like little grass.
Do you want me to try to make grass?
I mean, well, would the sheep keep coming back? Or
The lambs? Yeah. You gotta keep missing. Like, they're not sheep yet. They're never gonna be
right.
sheep.
They're the baby, the lamb. Yeah. I mean, if they don't need to eat.
When you get on the ears like I do, you kind of learn this wisdom.
I'm like measuring.
You see? Yeah. Oh, hey there. Oh, yeah.
I think it's the same. Like, I mean, yeah, they're goblin ears, but goblinoid ears, but.
I mean, yeah, I don't think they're the same. Yeah. It's fine. Time's not really a thing here. I think it's just because I think I'm old, I get older.
I feel that way a lot sometimes. Yeah. But the clock's not helping with the time then.
Yeah, neither is the prostate.
You might want to get that checked out.
Don't you just think?
I mean, I should think of a doctor, probably.
Or just think yourself back.
You're not here.
I'm younger.
I mean, you can have Pinky use his
Doubt
pinky.
Log would think about that. either.
You can have Pinky, use his pinky and check and
I think it's time for you to wake up.
Smacks you in the forehead and you wake up. There is a lamb, half shorn, chewing on your bedpost as you wake up. Ah!
Boots, where the shears?
Yeah, go ahead. Y'all roll dexterity checks for me real quick.
When we share a room, I'll toss you a dagger.
16.
16,
23.
23. Yeah, I mean, you guys get a good amount of wool from this thing before it's like, bye. And it just disappears. You get like another bag of wool.
We haven't used the previous one, did we?
No.
Did we ever identify if it has any special properties?
We did not.
Gave you all this downtime, and you're like, we don't need to do anything. And you're like, oh, we didn't do this.
I had it on my list, but I didn't even think about the fact that we don't know
If it's magical.
what if it's just regular wool or not.
And on that note of not knowing,
Because I'm not a
Whether-
weaver or
there's a magic, that it's magical wool or not, we're going to take our break. We'll be back in a little bit, guys. As always, stay safe out there. Bye.